Chapter 673. Fighting with Xing Qiongshi was something that Gu Qinsha had already planned. At least within this dimensional realm, he didn't fear Xing Qiongshi. Right now, he had accumulated a lot of energy. Since ancient times, no one had ever succeeded in cultivating the Heaven Dao art. No one had ever succeeded in cultivating a dimensional realm and becoming the creator of a dimensional realm before reaching the God realm. All of this energy was stored in his body and didn't explode out. If he faced immense pressure, he would release it all, allowing Gu Qinsha's cultivation base to reach the pinnacle. At the same time, Gu Qinsha would be able to peek into his opponent's secrets. The Heaven Dao arts could penetrate through anything. Gu Qinsha's fist turned into the way of devouring in the face of the finger that could suppress the heavens and the earth. A huge whirlpool was formed, and he himself became a part of the whirlpool. The Heaven Dao universe encompasses all transformations, devours all phenomena, and creates life. The whirlpool that Gu Qinsha turned into wrapped around the finger flick. With a loud bang, his body turned into a huge dragon gate. This was the desolate dragon gate. The transformations of the heavenly Dao technique were all real. Gu Qinsha had devoured the talisman condensed from the will of the desolate dragon sect, so he had an extremely deep understanding of the desolate dragon sect. The transformations of the desolate dragon sect continued to circulate and actually completely dissolved the power of this finger. Good. Desolate Dragon Gate transformation. With your Heaven Dao arts cultivation base, you have reached great height. You do have the flavor of the desolate Dragon Gate. As Xing Qiongshi spoke, he flicked out another finger. This finger was even more ferocious than the previous one. It tore through the infinite worlds, transcended the ancient times, and possessed all sorts of transformations. It could shatter the most beautiful hope in the depths of one's heart, causing one to feel incomparable despair. Sacrificial Talisman Transformation. In the face of Xing Qiongshi's second attack, Gu Qinsha transformed again. A sacrificial talisman appeared in his body and blocked the second attack with the talisman. But what followed next was Xing Qiongshi's third finger. This finger was silent, but its might was far greater. Wherever it went, even the strength of a dimensional realm was forced to retreat. Grand Mist Tree Transformation. Gu Qinsha unleashed his own transformation again, and a primordial tree rose up to block Xing Qiongshi's third finger strike. Right now, he was split into three parts. One of them was the Dragon Gate of the Wilderness, the other was the Heavenly Sacrificial Talisman, and the last was the Primordial Tree. These three supreme treasures were able to absorb all three of Xing Qiongshi's finger forces. Not bad, not bad. These three changes of yours have given me quite a bit of inspiration. However, these three changes are not enough to escape my punishment. Xing Qiongshi didn't stand up. Instead, he continued to sit beneath the World Tree. This time, he didn't snap his fingers. Instead, he opened his palm and reached out. This palm strike was much more ferocious than the previous three fingers. When fighting against Xing Qiongshi, Gu Qinsha had a feeling that there was always a taller mountain. The first finger attack had clearly already reached the limit of the heaven and earth, and it was impossible for there to be an attack that was stronger than this. However, the second finger attack was still stronger than the first. In other words, every single one of Xing Qiongshi's attacks could break through Gu Qinsha's limit. He kept shattering some of the things that Gu Qinsha knew. Now that the palm was about to grab him, Gu Qinsha suddenly felt like he couldn't resist it at all. This was Xing Qiongshi's true strength. Facing this palm attack, Gu Qinsha suddenly retracted his three forms. The Dragon Gate of the Wilderness, the Heavenly Sacrificial Talisman, and the Primordial Tree all returned to his original form. By this time, Xing Qiongshi's palm was already pressing down. Under the pressure of this palm, Gu Qinsha's body began to shatter inch by inch. However, as soon as it shattered, a continent was born. This continent was divided into 99 prefectures, which were none other than the Central Plains Divine Prefecture. Xing Qiongshi, since you've imparted to me the cultivation method and secrets of the 100th level of the Divine Prefecture, I'll activate it. Let's see if you can break through my Divine Prefecture. Gu Chencha's entire body transformed into a Divine Prefecture. He'd created a minor Divine Prefecture into a minor Kiliacosm, and had enough experience in doing so. The Divine Prefecture he'd transformed into was towering, connected to the infinite worlds, and seemed to be the center of the infinite worlds. All of his power was concentrated into a single point. Xing Qiungshi's palm slammed into the Divine Prefecture of the Central Plains. His expression didn't change, and he said coolly, "You're actually using my Divine Prefecture to deal with me? You've got some tricks up your sleeve, but alas, it won't work." The hand crushed the Divine Prefecture. Xing Qiungshi's hand descended, covering the entire Divine Prefecture of the Central Plains that Gu Chensha had transformed into. He wanted to crush it, but the Divine Prefecture slowly began to revolve, making it so that Xing Qiungshi's hand was unable to crush it any further. Xing Qiungshi's eyes shone with a strange light. Is the heavenly Tao magic able to activate my Divine Prefecture in such a miraculous manner? He once again circulated his own power, but no matter how much he tried, the Divine Prefecture didn't budge. In fact, as he circulated his power, he actually managed to refine Gu Chencha's Divine Prefecture even more tightly and sturdily. Ahahaha! Many thanks to Lord Xing Qiungshi for your refinement. My cultivation base has risen by quite a bit. Gu Chencha's aura began to boil and the structure of his magic power changed once more. The massive power of space seemed to break apart, fuse together, connect, and finally create layers upon layers of space. These layers of space and the power of the dimensional realm fused together, finally producing an even stronger strength. Gu Chencha's realm increased. He reached the 28th transformation, the vacuum-shattering realm. Since he absorbed the Buddhist sect's civilization, he had accumulated enough. Before reaching the God realm, he wouldn't face many obstacles. Now that he was fighting with Xing Qiungshi, under huge pressure, he absorbed the power of Xing Qiungshi's attacks to push his own transformation to a higher realm. The greatest benefit of reaching the 28th transformation, the vacuum-shattering realm, was that he could create a temporary space. Especially with Gu Chencha's heavenly Tao magic cultivation, he could create a stable space ring. At the 27th transformation, the seamless two-world realm, he just had the power to tear open space. He couldn't extract the essence of space to create his own space. Once Gu Chensha reached this realm, he would be able to use the space essence to better control the medium-sized world. Within the medium-sized world, Gu Chencha's control would greatly increase. Naturally, he would be able to resist Xing Qiungshi's attacks. You actually used my pressure to raise your cultivation. Not bad, but I am starting to understand your heavenly Tao magic. Xing Qiungshi stopped, as expected. Out of heaven talisman Emperor's sons, you are the most outstanding. Let's spar. Gu Chensha said, the benefits are huge. I want to spar with Lord Xing Qiungshi more. But you didn't complete what you said? If that is the case, then I will have to use the heavenly Tao magic to seep into your body. Gu Chencha's words were filled with killing intent. Xing Qiungshi's words were actually an insult to him. Even if he was Xing Qiungshi, he wouldn't dare to speak to him like that. In truth, he recruited Xing Qiungshi into his medium-sized world because he was ambitious. He wanted to refine Xing Qiungshi and turn him into nutrients for the world tree. That way, he would be able to reach the highest realm. Xing Qiungshi also wanted to refine his medium-sized world, but it was like asking a tiger for its skin. Gu Chensha had fought with Xing Qiungshi for a while and used his strength to reach the 28th transformation, vacuum crushing. He roughly understood Xing Qiungshi's strength, so he definitely wouldn't allow Xing Qiungshi to do whatever he wanted in his medium-sized world. At the very least, he had to let Xing Qiungshi know that he wasn't someone to be offended. He was the owner of the medium-sized world, and Xing Qiongshi actually dared to say such things. That was just too arrogant. So, Gu Qinsha started to counterattack. He made it clear that he wanted to use the heaven path technique to seep into Xing Qiongshi's body. He wanted to see what other methods Xing Qiongshi had. Now that his cultivation base had increased by leaps and bounds, if Xing Qiongshi were to fight him again, he would be able to use the pressure exerted by Xing Qiongshi to push his cultivation base to the 29 transformations, the sense of primordial chaos realm. This realm was different from the rest of the world. He would be able to use his own will to absorb primordial chaos origin power, enrich his own space, and refine all sorts of treasures with ease. When he reached the 29th transformation, comprehend chaos realm, he was just a step away from God realm. As long as he turned his space domain into a small world, it would be complete. Not to mention anything else, if Gu Qinsha reached the 29th transformation, then the common people's general would rise too. All of them would be able to reach the 29th transformation, and their ability to suppress the world would be different. He was prepared, and Xing Qiongshi wouldn't be able to do anything to him. If he reached God realm and comprehended the mysteries, he might be able to refine Xing Qiongshi here. This was where his confidence came from. As expected from someone with the heaven path technique. I underestimated you. When Xing Qiongshi heard Gu Qinsha's rude words, he didn't get angry. Instead, he closed his eyes and comprehended once more. I really want to see how good your heaven path technique is. You actually want to enter my body? Okay. Gu Qinsha smiled. I might not have had confidence when I was at the 27th transformation, but with your help, I reached the 28th. My cultivation is much higher than before. Xing Qiongshi, you have to be careful. While speaking, his body changed and he actually turned into a light breeze and rain that covered Xing Qiongshi. A black energy surged out from Xing Qiongshi's body. It seemed to be able to isolate everything and form its own body. It wasn't part of the three worlds and couldn't be invaded at all. This was the true nature of crossing the 36th transformation. It seems like you still don't know what it means to cross the 36th transformation and become a heaven sovereign. The so-called heaven sovereign is someone who has grasped an aura that is outside of the heaven path. Although it can't compare to the true heaven path, it is actually a vassal state that doesn't need to follow the emperor. Xing Qiongshi said, "It is temporarily impossible for your heaven path technique to enter." Is that so? I would like to try. Gu Qinsha used all his abilities and didn't hold back at all. Chapter 674. When Gu Qinsha saw that the Xingqiong clan couldn't do anything to him, he kept activating the heavenly Tao. It could be said that he was extremely daring. When faced with the divine prefecture's number one ferocious being, not to mention those below the deity level, even saints would have to retreat and tremble in fear upon hearing his name. Even the supergiants of the celestial Lord realm would be somewhat fearful. But Gu Qinsha had tricked him into coming here, using the pressure to temper himself. But Xing Qiongshi couldn't do anything to him. Xing Qiongshi hadn't gained the slightest advantage from the 3 fingers and 1 palm attack just now. Instead, it had helped Gu Qinsha, allowing him to reach the 28 transformations, vacuum-shattering realm under the immense pressure. After Gu Qinsha's rise, not only did his cultivation become stronger, but his connection with the dimensional realm became even closer. Xing Qiongshi could only watch on as Gu Qinsha grew and gradually overtook them. At Xing Qiongshi's realm, it was almost impossible to break through again. He was at the heavenly longevity realm, the same as Wan Senshi and the celestial master. Since ancient times, no living being had been able to break through to the sky origin realm. Xing Qiongshi was no exception. If the Xingqiong clan had their own dimensional realm, then when combined with the transcendent ominous mystic arts, they might have been able to injure Gu Qinsha. But Gu Qinsha had survived a calamity and was able to perceive some truths. But a dimensional realm was still a dimensional realm. It wouldn't be able to be cultivated just because you perceived it. You had to accumulate a massive amount of strength. The Dharma Saint had planned for who knew how long. He had used up all of the Sky Devil race's resources, contacted Wu Dankong, and borrowed the power of the Heaven Sacrificial Talisman to create a dimensional realm. Right now, Xing Qiongshi was extremely poor. It was already incredible that he could barely create a dimensional realm. If it was so easy to create a dimensional realm, the Calming Immortal Department wouldn't have spent so much time and luck. Heaven and earth change, sun and moon become Taoist. Comprehend divergent, jump out of the three realms. Gu Chencha's body changed once more, turning into the Heaven Sacrificial Talisman. It circled above Xing Qiongshi's head, and emitted the light of the sun and moon. It was so bright that it almost made Xing Qiongshi's body transparent. This was equivalent to peeking into all of the Xing Qiong clan's secret. However, many black vortexes appeared around Xing Qiongshi's body, devouring the light. This meant that Xing Qiongshi was also using Gu Chencha's heavenly Tao to accomplish something. The two of them were still using each other and attacking each other. If the Xing Qiong clan were to familiarize themselves with the quality of the heavenly Tao, they would be able to draw upon the profundities within it and gain a deeper understanding of the heavenly Tao, thereby completing some sort of unknown transformation. In that case, Gu Chensha would also fall into danger. Similarly, if Gu Chensha were to ascend to the divine realm, then even if the Xingqiong clan could leave this dimensional realm, their origin energy would be greatly damaged. They might even lose a great deal of their strength and become a dimensional realm with the common people's wish sphere. The two of them had already begun fighting. Gu Chensha could be said to have run into a true expert. He first practiced with Xing Qiongshi as a premeditated plan to deal with Wan Senshi. Right now, Immortal Master Wan was stronger than Xing Qiongshi. This was because Immortal Master Wan had definitely created his own dimensional realm. As he fought with Xing Qiongshi and tried his best to seep into her body, Gu Chencha's cultivation became more and more clear. His comprehension of the Tao of Deviance also increased in just a few breaths. After all, with Xing Qiongshi, the king of anomalies, as a blueprint, he would be able to obtain some of Xing Qiongshi's memories and secrets sooner or later. Within Dharma Continent, Governor Wen Hanlong listened to his subordinate's report and was filled with worry. Governor, the legalist faction has been doing many small things recently. Our spies have found out that many legalist faction disciples have started to travel among the commoners and rich families. They are contacting one another and it seems like they are planning some sort of plot. A young man who was around 20 years old reported some matters. This teen's cultivation was actually at Tao Realm Transformation 7, leaving the ground and soaring into the sky. He had cultivated Xiantian earth energy and could circulate it at will. It spun around his body and allowed him to fly in the air. This young man was an outstanding student from the Common People's Wish Academy. He helped Governor Wen Hanlong to manage the people of the entire continent. The Common People's Hope Institute was currently being nurtured by Lu Baiwei. It was unknown how many geniuses had been selected and nurtured there. Due to the sufficient amount of mandragon pellets, lesser heavenly dew, and other spirit herbs, as well as countless superior cultivation techniques such as the Dragon Nurturing Heart Sutra and Dragon Creation Sutra, these students were all geniuses. Their cultivation had also increased rapidly, and these people had begun to infiltrate the lower levels. Putting aside the various governors' manners, there were also students from the Common People's Hope Institute in the lower levels of provinces, prefectures, counties, and even towns and villages. From the bottom to the top, they controlled the entire administrative structure of the Imperial Court, causing the Imperial Court to be in the hands of the Calming Celestial Bureau. This was the result of Gu Chencha's counterattack last time. He had suppressed the various aristocratic families, including the Crown Prince Gu Xianxia, Gu Danjian, and Wu Dongkong's forces, and then vigorously developed the students. Finally, they occupied almost 90% of the inheritance. This way, the imperial court's national fate had been gathered in the common people's wish sphere, resulting in the current situation. With just this move, Gu Chernsha had grasped the essence of ruling a country. This is a problematic matter. This was what Wen Hanlong was worried about. The warlock saint has cultivated a medium-class world and formed an alliance with the heavenly demon race. All the aristocratic families are now following his lead and have pledged their allegiance to him. Even my Wen family is no exception. Now that I have been expelled by the Wen family, if the Wen family rebels in the future, they will definitely not hesitate to kill me. Damn it, don't these rebels have any loyalty to the imperial court? Even if they cooperate with the demon race, they still want to harm the common people? The glory of these aristocratic families has been taken away by the imperial court. Naturally, they won't leave it at that. They want to break the imperial court and create a new order so that they can get a share of it. But they don't think that by cooperating with the Dharma Saint, they will most likely be eaten up until there is nothing left. This young man was far-sighted. If they can join the imperial court and join the coming celestial bureau, they can still preserve their orthodoxy and worship. For example, the Wen family can prosper, and the one saint will also hold a public sacrifice for them. Of course, but greed blinds them. No one can save them. Wen Hanlong sneered, but if they really become ruthless, they won't care about the lives of the common people. They will definitely join the demon race to turn the divine continent upside down. No matter what, we have to protect the divine continent and the common people. We can't let these rebels and demons cause chaos in the world, the young man said resolutely. Buzz, at that moment, in the back hall of the governor's manor, layers of space ripples spread out. Then, a general turned into layers of space. He casually changed and appeared in front of Wen Hanlong. In the end, he formed back into his body and cupped his fists. Governor, my master Chernsha has cultivated to the 28th Dao realm transformation, the vacuum-shattering realm. Even I have reached this realm. Now, I can shatter space and extract the pure space essence from within to form a space ring. Moreover, because my strength is at true dragon technique grade 5, the space ring I create is really stable and won't collapse for decades. Apart from that, my strength has increased by several times. Prince's cultivation is really quick. When Hanlong sighed and said, "Seems like he'll be able to reach the divine level very soon. If His Highness were to reach the divine level, your great marshal of the common people will be the same and reach the divine level as well. Then, all 360 great marshals of the common people will also reach the divine level. At that time, the 99 prefectures and the various regions of the wilderness will all have divine-level experts suppressing them. It's only a matter of time before my Lord Dusha reaches the divinity level. My Lord has already drawn Xing Qiongshi into a dimensional realm and is beginning to refine him. At the same time, he's borrowing the pressure from him to rapidly rise in power." The general said, "My master is doing an experiment. No matter if it succeeds or not, he will gain huge benefit." He drew Xing Qiong clan in to deal with Wan Senshi and Dharma Saint. "Let's save General Yuhuan Lu first. Prince has great foresight and has never miscalculated since you started cultivating. You have always stood at the peak and played around with many strong existences. I am deeply impressed. Does Prince have any instructions?" When Hanlong knew that this general usually stayed in the depths of the manor, using the mysteries to help him predict the country, he definitely wouldn't come out to say so much. Now that he had come out, it was definitely Gu Chencha's idea. "My master said that he hopes that the governor can keep himself useful and not fight to the death with the Dharma Saint. If the Dharma Saint explodes and sweeps Dharma province, then the governor and the officials can just slowly retreat. We will develop in the wilderness and then plan to improve. There is no need to defend our land to the death." The general said. This When Hanlong's face showed hesitation, as the governor of Dharma province, I have the responsibility to defend the land. If Dharma province is lost, I will die in the line of duty. If I escape, how will the people of the world look at me? This is my master's intention and also an order given by my master with the emperor's golden plate. This is the emperor's order. The general said, "You have to obey." Yes. When Hanlong didn't have anything else to say. My master has just comprehended a secret technique that can be cultivated by the governor. As he spoke, the general of common peoples will transmit it over. My lord has developed billions of secret arts that are suitable for all living beings in the world. What the governor cultivates is the mystique of the one family, and he inherits the aura of literature and ink. The aura of his writings soars into the heavens, writing about the spring and autumn. This is the foundation of the governor, and my lord has used the governor's foundation as a reference, turning it into a secret art. It will definitely raise the governor's cultivation by a lot. When Hanlong accepted this thought and tried to comprehend it, a look of shock appeared on his face. "Your Highness, you're really talented. You've actually managed to deduce all the flaws in my cultivation and make up for them one by one. Not only that, but you've also created new ones. You think what I think and worry about what I'm worried about. Could it be that, when Prince fixed my flaws, he also sent a will to the other governors to fix their flaws?" Chapter 675. At this time, the people in charge of the entire Central Divine Prefecture, even the wildlands and the overseas provinces, all received cultivation methods from the commander of common people. These methods were all deduced by Gu Qinsha and were most suitable for them to cultivate. They could make up for their own shortcomings and make their cultivation and evolution even more perfect. This was something inconceivable. Originally, the same could be said for all sorts of people. Cultivators who absorbed spiritual energy would also have all sorts of strange cultivation and comprehension paths. They had their own paths and they had to walk it themselves. But now, Gu Qinsha was using the common people mending the heavens to help them find out what they were lacking. This was indeed a method of mending the heavens. Mending the heavens, mending the earth, mending people, mending all things. This was what Gu Qinsha had comprehended from the Buddhist sect's concept of transcending everything and causing all beings to enter the nirvana realm. The two had similar effects, but Gu Qinsha's method of mending the heavens was more interesting. He did not forcefully transcend all beings, but when they were lost, he would enlighten them. This way, karma would not contaminate them, and fate would come and go without a trace. It really had a hint of the heavenly Tao's wondrous effects. This was also when Gu Qinsha and Xing Qiongshi fought. He started to completely merge the wondrous effects of the Buddhist sect, merging the orthodoxy and civilization into the depths of his heaven-mending art, establishing a true foundation. Originally, the great massacre god art, son of heaven god sealing art, and many other top techniques all had their own Taos, and it was difficult to truly merge them together. However, after Gu Qinsha cultivated the heavenly Tao, he used the quality of the magic power that no one in history had ever been able to cultivate. He also used a great deal of knowledge as fuel to refine it. Finally, with the help of the Grandmaster Craftsman, Xing Qiongshi, he truly tempered his body and began to fuse them together. The battle between Gu Qinsha and Xing Qiongshi was a situation that he had deliberately created. Now, he had deduced some things. Using the will of the commander of common people, he sent it to the various governors. Their cultivation would definitely improve greatly in a short period of time, and they would truly feel the greatness of the calming celestial department, which would strengthen their confidence. Days passed one by one. The world seemed to be flourishing and flourishing. As for the Dharma saint, he did not take any further actions. In fact, he was brewing an even greater storm, waiting for some sort of opportunity to arrive. Meanwhile, Chang Weiyang and Douyu had entered the space-time turbulence to fight in the exiled grounds. It was as if both of them had disappeared without a trace. However, many big shots knew that a battle of this level would definitely last for a long time. Even if it was a battle between two gods, the outcome could not be determined in a day or two, let alone two existences who were only a hair away from reaching the celestial master realm. It wouldn't be unusual for such a battle between giants to last for several years or even decades. Many people were watching this battle. The reason why the Dharma Saint did not erupt was that he was afraid that Chang Weiyang would suddenly advance to the Empyrean realm during the battle and return. If a dimensional realm had an Empyrean-level character holding the fort, then that was a completely different matter. This was especially true if the common people's wish sphere had formed an alliance with the many profound sects and were able to communicate with each other. Other than that, the Dharma Saint still had a lot of things to do. At the very least, he had to annex the other aristocratic families, suppress some of the big shots within the heavenly devil race, and subdue the other devil races. Just like that, the entire world seemed to have returned to a temporary state of peace. They were all developing their strength and secretly accumulating power, preparing for a heaven-shaking strike. Time slowly passed by Heaven Talisman 30. Gu Chunxia had debuted in Heaven Talisman 14. At that time, he was only 14 years old. Now that 16 years had passed, he was already 30 years old. During these 16 years, he had grown from a worldly realm expert to a Tao Realm 28 transformation vacuum smasher. Heaven Talisman 30 years. At that moment, within the common people's wish sphere, Gu Chunxia suddenly retracted his magic power and formed his body once more. As for Xing Qiongshi, who was sitting below the world tree, he still did not move at all. During these days, Gu Chunxia had been continuously infiltrating and had already seen many of Xing Qiongxi's secrets. He had benefited greatly and consolidated all of his power. He could reach the 29 transformations at any time and comprehend the primal chaos realm. Of course, Xing Qiongxi's cultivation seemed to have entered an unfathomable and wondrous realm. Lord Xing Qiongshi, how do you feel fighting with me these days? You seem to be waiting to see the outcome of the battle between Chang Weiyang and Douyu, right? Gu Chunxia's voice sounded out. Kid, you do have some skills. Xing Qiongxi's will rippled through the entire dimensional realm. But now I've completely understood the transformations of your heavenly Tao magic. By borrowing the power of your heavenly Tao magic, I've completely recovered from my injuries, and my cultivation base has reached an unprecedented level. But this is useless. Gu Chunxia said, Lord Xing Qiongshi, have you seen this? During these days of peace, our calming celestial department has absorbed more and more wish power. Our population has increased and order has strengthened. But you are just one person, so how can you fight against the hearts of all living beings? I can't help but admire you little fellows' way of ruling a country. Even though you are surrounded by so many giants, you are still able to control the universe and develop. Xing Qiongshi looked at the entire dimensional world. Countless wish power intertwined with each other. With his vision, he could naturally see that countless commoners and officials had to swear oaths every day, shouting slogans and never forgetting their original intentions. This wish power was extremely rich and shined with the light of wisdom. It was completely different from blind faith. And more importantly, there weren't many commoners who truly believed in the common people's will sphere and the calming celestial department. Most of them were just in awe. This meant that the calming celestial department still had a lot of potential that could be unearthed. If the 20 billion commoners in the world all worked together, then the overall strength of the calming celestial department and the richness of the world's energy would increase by dozens or even hundreds of times. At that time, perhaps Xing Qiongshi would be completely suppressed. He also knew all of this. From his perspective, he could see countless disciples of the calming celestial department being nurtured by the Common People's Will Institute. They were sent to all sorts of grassroots organizations, participating in businesses, the military, the government, arresting people, and even participating in literary conferences. There were also many methods of propaganda. For example, there were some disciples of the Human Dragon League who worked together with the scholars to write novels, praising the deeds of the common people's will institute. These stories were well received by the masses, allowing the image of the common people's will institute to be imprinted into the hearts of the people. Other than that, in the education of the common people, there were also many schools that had disciples of the Human Dragon League as teachers. These teachers specialized in teaching the ideals of the coming celestial department, as well as the strategies used to establish the empire. They also taught about the majesty of the heavenly talisman emperor, as well as the glorious image of Gu Qinsha and the others who wholeheartedly served the country and the people. At the same time, they criticized the various aristocratic families for their actions. All sorts of operations, no matter how big or small, were used to propagate the image of the coming celestial department. If not, all the students in the schools would have to swear an oath every day. Not only that, they would also have to propagate this oath to the outside world, be it at home or among the commoners. In this way, they would be able to create an incomparably huge wave of thought. Once this wave of thought started to spread, it would take root and germinate sooner or later. As long as there was time, in another 8 to 10 years, this generation of students would grow up and be deeply influenced by the ideals of the coming celestial department. At that time, the coming celestial department would definitely stand at the peak. Even the Dharma saint wouldn't be able to do anything to them. This was the true trend. Any schemes and conspiracies were not worth mentioning in the face of such a general trend. Just a minor matter. Gu Qinsha stared fixedly at Xing Qiongshi. Lord Xing Qiongshi, I don't think there's a need for the two of us to fight. You won't be able to refine the dimensional world of our coming celestial department, and I also won't be able to pry into the core secrets of your body. The two of us should join forces. Now is the most crucial moment. If we fight, we would only be used by outsiders. I've said it before, we have to wait for the victor to be decided between Chang Wei-yang and Douyu. Xing Qiongshi said, It's pointless for you to say anything else. Besides, you're incomparably cunning, so why would I believe you? These days, I've borrowed the power of your heavenly Tao to simulate the situation of my body merging with the central divine prefecture countless times. If it weren't for the suppression of the heavenly talisman Great Emperor's restrictive magic, I would have a 60% chance of cultivating the divine prefecture grand art to the 100th level. So, up until now, you two have been my greatest enemies in attaining the Tao. Do you understand? AI. Gu Qinsha sighed. Even now, Lord Xing Qiongshi still refuses to come to his senses. I've already said that you can only gain by sacrificing something. We're not enemies, but friends. And yet, Lord Xing Qiongshi is doing something that will cause those close to you to feel pain and those who hate you to feel joy. If the three celestial sovereigns learn of this, they'll probably wake up laughing in their dreams. No matter how glib your tongue is, I won't believe you. I only believe in my own opinion. There's only one law in the world. Everything, even if it's the myriad of living beings, has to be used by me. I can't possibly sacrifice myself to save the world. Only the world can sacrifice itself to help me. At my level, how can I be swayed by your words? What a joke. Xing Qiongshi didn't seem to believe Gu Qinsha anymore. The alliance between the two of them had also become a bubble. What a pity. Gu Qinsha shook his head. I originally thought that Lord Xing Qiongshi had comprehended some profound mysteries. Unfortunately, Lord Xing Qiongshi is simply too powerful, and the obstacles you've placed on yourself are also enormous. It's very difficult to reverse. Of course, this is because the onlooker sees the game more clearly. There's nothing we can do about it. Chapter 676. Everything I say is the truth. Gu Qinsha calmed down. His words seemed to contain some sort of magic that could convince anyone. Lord Xing Qiongshi, if you think of us as enemies, then you are gravely mistaken. I know that you still want to swallow up the divine continent, and there are spells placed on it by my royal father. If you kill us, you might be able to break those spells and then proceed with your plan, right? That's right. Is there a problem with that? Xing Qiongshi said noncommittally. If that's what you think, then you are gravely mistaken. You have fallen into the trap of the 3 Empyreans, and there is a high chance that you will be killed again in the future. At the very least, if you join forces with us, we have a very good reputation. We won't plot against our friends, Gu Qinsha said. I didn't think that Chang Weiyang and Douyu would fight for over a year and still not be able to determine a victor. They are fighting in the depths of the severed lands. Xing Qiongshi looked deep into the void. But even he couldn't see through the situation of the severed lands. It was a vast and endless land filled with layers upon layers of despair. The Lord is still waiting for this battle, Gu Qinsha said. Many giants of the world are also waiting for this battle. But, even if the outcome of this battle is disadvantageous to our Calmness Immortal Division, it won't change anything. Could it be that you think that without Headmaster Chang Weiyang, the Lord can attack our Calmness Immortal Division and seize our dimensional realm? I can try. Xing Qiongshir's tone was cold. I have already taken root here, and sooner or later I will absorb the source of your dimensional realm. If Chang Weiyang returns, then she can completely drive me out. But if Chang Weiyang perishes, then your Calmness Immortal Division will suffer both internal and external troubles. At that time, I can take advantage of this opportunity to swallow you all up and take control of this dimensional realm. This should also be the result that you have already expected. Xing Qiongshi spoke bluntly. It seems that I still can't change your mind. Gu Qinsha frowned. His best result would be to persuade Xingqiong clan and have Xingqiong clan take the initiative to assimilate into the Central Divine Prefecture for the sake of the Divine Prefecture's 100 levels. That way, he would be able to achieve something that no one in history could compare to. It would be equivalent to sacrificing Xingqiong clan to the Central Divine Prefecture. Xing Qiongshi might really be able to cultivate the 100th stage of the Great Divine Prefecture technique. This was a win-win situation for both sides, and it was definitely not Gu Qinsha trying to trick them. However, Xing Qiong refused to believe it. He didn't have the guts to gamble. Unable to give up something. In Gu Qinsha's opinion, the Xingqiong clan would most likely find it hard to break through. Of course, there was no need for him to break through to the next level to stand at the peak. Let's continue waiting. You're going to deal with Wan Senshi, so I won't be doing anything for now. I'll just watch from here. Xingqiong clan was extremely cunning. With your current cultivation and the power of a dimensional realm, you won't be at a disadvantage in a battle of wits and courage against me. I'm sure you'll be able to fight against Wan Senshi as well. How about this? If you can fight against Wan Senshi for a while and rescue Yuhuan Lu, I'll join forces with you to deal with the demons. Xingqiong clan could tell that even though Wan Senshi had captured Yuhuan Lu, the greatest threat to the Central Divine Prefecture was still not him, but the demons. Only when the demons attacked the Central Divine Prefecture would Wan Senshi act. He would be borrowing the momentum of the battle between the demons and spirit. It's too obvious that you're trying to reap the benefits of others. Gu Qinsha's eyes flashed as he looked at Xingqiong clan for a long time. Since that's the case, I'll show you that I can deal with Wan Senshi without your help. As he spoke, Gu Qinsha's entire body vanished. A playful smile appeared on Xingqiong clan's face, but he remained motionless. His will was slowly observing the regal medallion floating in the air. As long as the medallion didn't change, he wouldn't dare act rashly. Over the past year, he'd tried to pry into the medallion's secrets. Alas, the difference between their levels was too great, and he'd gained very little. However, He could sense that this medallion was a supreme treasure that surpassed the heavenly sacrifice talisman, the primitive dragon gate, and even the grand mist tree. It was just that the medallion hadn't released its true power yet. If it had released its full power, the celestial calmness department would have long since suppressed countless powerful existences, and the world wouldn't be filled with demons. If I can refine this treasure. Xingqiong Clan's heart was slightly moved. I don't know where the heavenly talisman Great Emperor came from or where he went. He's currently tangled with the heavenly Daos. If he's at a disadvantage, there will definitely be problems with the medallion. At that time, that will be my chance. That Dharma saint is also waiting for such an opportunity. That's why he tried to rope in Wu Dankong, and even gave control of the dimensional realm to her. He was waiting for the heavenly Daos to change, and then he could seize the heavenly sacrifice talisman. I had the same idea in the beginning, but because I was injured, the Dharma saint took over, and Wu Dankong broke free from my control. Xingqiong Clan also wanted the heavenly sacrifice talisman. Originally, it was impossible for his plan to fail on Wu Dankong's body. However, in order to destroy the martial saint's paradise with one punch, he'd forcefully activated the Divine Prefecture Great Art's 100 layers, which resulted in the backlash from the heavenly talisman Great Emperor's forbidden technique. He only recovered now, which gave the Dharma saint an opportunity. He had no choice but to break through the regal medallion. He was waiting for an opportunity. At this time, Gu Chensha had already changed continuously. He came out of his dimensional world and came to the frigid snow region at the edge of the eastern wasteland. He saw that the new divine prefecture was still operating. This person's luck has come. It's time to harvest. The true God positions of God of Fortune and God of Longevity are about to be obtained by him. My painstaking plan has finally paid off. When I obtain the true God positions of God of Fortune and God of Longevity, I can use the supreme summoning technique to obtain the true God position of God of Fortune and God of Longevity from Jingqiu. At that time, God of Fortune, God of Longevity and God of Fortune will become one. I can use the heavenly law to refine these three positions and fuse them into my body. I'm afraid I can break through to the God realm with just a thought. Gu Chensha had been planning on God of Fortune for a long time. Now, one of his incarnations, Ghost Weep, was running a country in God of Fortune's dimensional world, gathering faith for God of Fortune and God of Longevity. With his methods, he naturally did a good job and had now gained God of Fortune's trust. As for God of Fortune, he was in existence with great luck. Some big shots evaluated him as little the great spirit god. From this, it could be seen that this person was cunning and insidious. In the era of the Divine Prefecture's central land, God of Fortune and Life would certainly have a great fortuitous encounter. It was very likely that he would obtain the true God positions of God of Fortune, God of Longevity and God of Fortune. Of course, now that the true God position of God of Fortune was in Jingqiu's hands, it was the Dharma Saint's plan. Jingqiu had already cultivated to the God realm, and holding the true God position was like adding wings to a tiger. Gu Chensha activated the Qi observation technique and could see that in the distant desert, the holy Samar Empire, far away from the divine prefecture, was constantly expanding. Not only was the population skyrocketing, the atmosphere was blazing, and the luck was changing with each passing day. It seemed that Jingqiu was using his magical power to plunder people everywhere with Jing Fanxing. Of course, Jingqiu still did not dare to plunder the people of the Yankou in the divine prefecture, but the endless world was so vast that even someone like Wan Senshi could not fully explore it. In some of the desolate lands there were many human settlements and even some countries. For example, outside the deep cold snow region, there was a vast land where empires also existed. In addition, in the depths of the desert, after passing through the desert, there were also unknown continents that had large numbers of people living on them. Ever since Gu Qinsha had cultivated the 27 changes seamless two realms, he could tear through space and teleport. He knew that in many distant lands, there were definitely empires more powerful than the Great Wei dynasty. It was just that they were too far away, and there was no chance for them to come into contact with the divine prefecture. For example, there were some continents that even God realm experts had to travel for a year or even several years to reach. Ordinary experts would never be able to travel there in their entire lives. This was how vast the land of infinity was. Jing Qiu is very ambitious. In the past year, he has been constantly accumulating his strength, contacting various parties, and raising his cultivation base. He has been very busy. Gu Qinsha retracted his gaze. Xing Qiongshi has been waiting in my dimensional realm for a chance to plot something big. He is a great scourge. I've drawn him in, and there are both advantages and disadvantages. I might as well fight him. First I'll plot against the longevity god, and then I'll plot against Jing Qiu. In addition, Xing Qiongshi said that the position of true god of the 5 seasons might not be in Douyu's hands. It might even be in his hands, and he's just lying to me. What's true and what's false, what's true and what's false, none of this can be hidden from me. I've been planning for so long, and now it's time to reap the harvest. And that martial emperor has been resurrected, and with Wan Senchi's help, it's time to reap the harvest. In the past year, I've reformed the teachings of the Buddhist sect, and it has become a culture. The Buddhist sect has also received great benefits, and the Permitha Golden Mountain has been nourished, and its strength should be starting to recover. With the help of the Buddhist sect, I'll be able to scam Wan Senchi once more. With that in mind, Gu Qinsha's body moved, and he snuck into the new divine land. Wan Senchi, oh Wan Senchi, since you dared to capture Yuan Lu, you'll have to pay a price that's tens of times, or even hundreds of times more. Your investment in Martial Emperor far exceeds that of that Sky Melody Dragon Zither. The moment Gu Qinsha entered the new divine land, he saw that Yuan Lu was still tied up on the golden zither in the center of the new divine land. But after such a long time, Yuan Lu seemed to have started to fuse with the Sky Melody Dragon Zither, and her cultivation base was rising steadily. Given time, she might be able to become one with the zither. However, even if she became one with the zither, she would not be able to escape Wan Senchi's clutches. Gu Qinsha's heart was extremely cold, and his hatred for Wan Senchi intensified. He would definitely make that person pay the price. If he had the chance, he would definitely capture Wan Senchi as well and let him taste this kind of humiliation. This giant that had suddenly appeared was directly targeting the tranquil immortal department. Gu Qinsha needed to face them head-on. Chapter 677. The new god continent was becoming more and more prosperous. Many disciples of the Celestial Path Xian sect could be seen trading and interacting with each other. Apart from that, one could even see the monster race among them. Oh? Keing Ke Huang Gu Qinsha seemed to have heard 2 familiar voices. These were 2 sisters of the vermilion bird race. They were from the monster race, but they didn't have the pure vermilion bird bloodline. They could only be considered a side branch. The real vermilion bird egg was obtained through them and soaked in Gu Qinsha's sun and moon dragon blood before hatching. They were Gu Qinsha's enemies. But now Gu Qinsha didn't care about them. Even monster saintly Wanlong was at the peak of the saint realm. He was only at the embodiment transformation realm. He was far weaker than Xing Qiong. If Gu Qinsha wanted to attack, it wouldn't be a problem for him to suppress this saint. Moreover, the monster race's nest of 10,000 dragons was just a pinnacle small-sized world. It would be extremely difficult for it to advance to a medium-sized world. Unless Li Wanlong reached the Celestial Lord realm and had a fortuitous encounter, as well as a setup like the Dharma Saints that could pull in the Sky Demon race's selfless contribution. More importantly, the Dharma Saint himself was at the Celestial Lord realm. He comprehended the secrets of life and death and was reborn after a calamity. He was probably the first saint who could automatically revive. Even Gu Qinsha was shocked by what the Dharma Saint comprehended. He knew that this person was worthy of being the first saint of the ancient human race. He had single-handedly created the order of the human race. The Dharma Saint already had his own complete Tao. Even if his Tao was completely different from Gu Qinsha's, he couldn't say that he was wrong. The battle for the Tao depended on who could destroy the other. As the saying went, the winner was king and the loser was a bandit. He was too lazy to bother about the two of them. Although it seemed like their cultivation had risen really quickly, and they had both reached Tao Realm 22 and 23 changes, their combined cultivation wasn't enough for a common people's general to kill them with a flick of his finger. Of course, for the two women, they must have had many fortuitous encounters to be able to cultivate successfully in just a few years. In the past, K'ing was only at the 19 changes, size manipulation, realm. Now, she had actually cultivated to the 22 changes. Logically speaking, after reaching the 20th transformation, one would need to cultivate for decades or even centuries before advancing to the next level. Of course, with so many fortuitous encounters, such a fast advancement was still considered slow. Gu Qinsha's consciousness instantly locked onto Longevity God. Longevity God had a very high status in Wan Senchi's new divine prefecture. His residence was in the capital of New Divine Prefecture. Now, he was deep in his mansion, pondering and cultivating, trying to comprehend the Saint Realm. His cultivation had reached the Tao Realm 32 transformation, one thought connecting to heaven. He was just a step away from reaching the truth saint heart and forming his own saint heart to become a saint. Once he broke through this realm, his cultivation and combat strength would greatly increase. However, it was very difficult to reach this step. Even with Longevity God's luck, it would be difficult to break through this barrier. Suddenly, he deduced the cultivation techniques of Longevity God and Fortune God to the extreme in his mind. Then, a bright light flashed as a lot of information from the void entered his sea of consciousness. Then, he silently transformed and left the new divine prefecture. At this moment, Gu Qinsha's true body merged with Ghost Weep's incarnation in his minute dust world. With Gu Qinsha's current cultivation, even if he did not use his dimension world power, he could still suppress Longevity God. However, he did not want to act rashly and alert the enemy. Instead, he was waiting for Longevity God's fortuitous encounter. Longevity God had a flash of inspiration in the depths of his mind. He must have obtained some kind of information and secret. It should be the connection between Longevity God and Fortune God's true God position. Originally, Longevity God was the successor of the three ancient true gods. According to reason, the orthodoxy of Longevity God and Fortune God would be inherited by him, and the position of true God was also obtained by him. Therefore, his luck was very rich. Gu Qinsha could see this, and so could Wan Senchi. Therefore, the first thing Wan Senchi did was to win over Longevity God, but he did not control him. Because Wan Senchi wanted to set up a benchmark. If he controlled Longevity God from the beginning, it would give the other giants an unreliable impression, which would make it difficult to win the hearts of the masses. Another point was that even the position of true God of Longevity God and Fortune God was useless to Wan Senchi. What Wan Senchi was after should be the Dragon Gate of the ancient wasteland, the heavenly sacrificial talisman, and the Hongmeng tree. If he conspired to seize the position of the three true gods and ruined his reputation, the union of 10,000 immortals would not be able to be established, and the gains would not make up for the losses. Unlike Gu Qinsha, if he obtained the position of true god, he would improve a lot. Wan Senchi, on the other hand, had already reached the peak and could not improve anymore. Longevity God left the new divine continent and directly passed through the East Wasteland and came to the divine continent. Then, he landed in Fuzhou. Fuzhou was one of the 99 provinces of the divine continent, and it got its name because of the blessing god. In ancient times, when the Son of Heaven conferred the title of blessing god, this province was divided, and the Fu clan was still the descendant of the blessing god. However, because the blessing god had fallen a long time ago, the Fu clan had always been a second or third-rate family. There was no god-level expert in the family, so naturally there was no microscopic world. In the 20 years of the Heavenly Talisman, the head of the Fu clan in Fuzhou, Fu Changshan, was only at the 18 transformations of the Tao Realm Golden Core, which was not even comparable to the Jing clan. But now, the Fu clan seemed to have obtained some fortuitous encounter, and their overall strength was rising steadily. Fortunately, the Fu clan had a good relationship with the imperial court, and they had always responded to the summons of the imperial court, which was why they were able to survive. Otherwise, they would have been wiped out during the last purge. In the last imperial court meeting, the Calm Immortal Department won a great victory, causing many sages and god families to bleed. Now, the Thunder Extreme Source and Thunder Extreme Blood of the Lei clan were still kneeling in the square in front of the imperial palace, suffering in pain day and night. The Department of Tranquil Immortals was not a benevolent man or woman. The way of governing a country was to use both kindness and authority. After they achieved a complete victory last time, many aristocratic families went into hiding. Liu Baiwei, the fourth prince, and Zhuge Ye began to purge the entire country. They purged the second and third-rate aristocratic families that were usually disobedient, or dissatisfied with the imperial court, but were also close to the first-rate aristocratic families. Now, the people who were left were basically those who were obedient. Gu Chunsha didn't kill those who were disobedient and instead sent them to the small god province to be brainwashed. They became obedient people who prayed every day and cultivated his great people's purification scripture. After they atoned for their sins, they would change their actions and realize their mistake. Only then would they be released and serve the people again. So basically, although there was a purge, there wasn't any bloodshed. This way there would be less karma and grievances. There wouldn't be any enemies who ran out. Otherwise, during the Great Calamity, the purge of the aristocratic families would more or less cause some fish to escape the net. They would bear a blood feud and obtain a fortuitous encounter. At that time, they would come to the imperial court for revenge, causing a series of troubles. Since ancient times, there were many such examples. There were even some children of destiny who carried a blood feud and overturned the imperial court. Gu Chunsha was familiar with history, was proficient in destiny, and observed tribulations. Naturally, he wouldn't do such a thing. Longevity God landed in Fuzhou. Fuzhou was located in the south of the 99 prefectures. It had rich earth qi and spiritual caves everywhere. Many mountains and rivers had naturally condensed into spiritual mountains, producing all kinds of medicinal herbs. It was indeed worthy of being called a blessed prefecture. At this time, Longevity God landed in a place that wasn't a spiritual cave. This place was very desolate in Fuzhou. It was a river bend. Silt had accumulated and gradually blocked it. No one had come to clean it up yet because the common people here seemed to have carried out a large-scale migration and entered the savage land to start reclaiming and building. The great development of the savage land was carried out by Heavenly Talisman Great Emperor and Calming Immortal Department. Longevity God landed on the riverbank and looked around. The silt had piled up into a flat land. It was very fertile. There was a town in the distance. This town had long been deserted, and the population had all migrated away. Gu Chencha's strategy was to gradually migrate some of the poor people with shallow cultivation to the savage land or overseas to avoid the devil disaster sweeping through and causing large-scale casualties. In addition, in the Xin province, Small groups of devils would come out from time to time and cause trouble everywhere in the divine prefecture. Although the 99 prefectures were being suppressed by the common people's marshal, they couldn't take care of everything at the same time. Besides, it was precisely because of the casualties that the people's fighting spirit and sense of urgency could be stimulated. Everyone became independent and cultivated day and night, farming, working, accumulating, and sharpening. The place where I had a flash of inspiration is here. Longevity God transformed into a scholar. His clothes fluttered in the wind as he observed the situation of this desolate riverbank. Suddenly, he pointed with his finger, and the silt on the riverbank dispersed, revealing the riverbed ravine on the west side. Under the riverbed, there seemed to be traces of a drowned temple. There were many stone tablets at the bottom of the river. They were left behind since ancient times to offer sacrifices to the gods. In the past, Heavenly Talisman Great Emperor abolished the gods and destroyed the temples, severing the faith of many people. Countless temples were destroyed. Many of the beautiful temples in Fuzhou were also dismantled, and those stone tablets became the cornerstone of the riverbed. Heavenly Talisman Great Emperor is truly amazing. He severed the faith of countless people in one fell swoop, causing the gods to be sealed. This way, Calming Immortal Department can manage the country. Otherwise, with the gods high up in the sky driving their believers, how could Calming Immortal Department be so successful? Longevity God sighed. He once again urged his world force, and the stone steels in the depths of the riverbed dispersed, revealing a cave deep inside. This cave seemed to be connected to another world. It was bottomless. It didn't seem mysterious, but Longevity God nodded. Chapter 678. Fate Condensed. Blood Sacrifice to a True God. At this moment, Longevity God grasped the key point of this matter. He knelt beneath the riverbed, secretly circulating the three great divine abilities of fortune, and longevity. He dripped his blood as a sacrifice and piously prayed. As he sensed his destiny, he could vaguely sense that it was connected to some mysterious existence in the depths of the void. Gu Chunsha used the Heaven Path technique and could sense that Longevity God's fate had become really weird. Some kind of fate and karma were entangling and boiling. Originally, with Gu Chensha's realm, he was still far from comprehending karma, fate, luck, and fate. Unless he reached the Tao realm 34 transformations controlling fate, only then would he be able to fully use these things. However, he had obtained the legacy of the Buddhist sect's civilization, and during his battle with the Xingqiong clan over the past year or so, he had gradually fused the Buddhist sect's civilization and Taoism together, and he had refined new things of his own. The Buddhist sect had a deep understanding of fate, karma, and fate. Gu Chunsha obtained these inheritances, so naturally, he would understand these secrets during cultivation. To Longevity God, he had an extremely deep fate with the three true gods. Otherwise, he wouldn't have obtained this orthodoxy's inheritance. Kacha. In the depths of the cave, as Longevity God dripped his blood, numerous true God auras spread out. Then, 2 rays of light directly entered Longevity God's body. These 2 rays of light were the size of eggs, but in the depths of the light was a broken world. Apart from that, there was a God throne in the depths of this broken world. That's right, it was a true God throne. 2 broken worlds, 2 true God thrones. This was a fortuitous encounter, and Longevity God obtained it so easily. In Longevity God's tiny world, Gu Chunsha saw a shocking scene. At this moment, the 2 rays of light charged into the tiny world and actually started to merge. Longevity God's joyful voice reverberated. Ha ha ha, I actually obtained Longevity God and Blessing God's broken God countries. This God country is a small kiliacosm. Although it is broken, it still contains rich small kiliacosm power. After I merge the small kiliacosm power left behind by these two broken god countries, I will be able to refine my own small kiliacosm in the future. With longevity god's current cultivation, it was impossible for him to refine a small kiliacosm. Even if he became a saint, he would need thousands of years to cultivate it. But it was different now. After obtaining the power of longevity god, and blessing God's broken god countries, a huge amount of small kiliacosm power was brewing, saving him thousands of years of cultivation. Of course, this was only one aspect. More importantly, longevity god obtained 2 true god thrones at once. In this way, his cultivation would continue to rise, and he would eventually become a true god. Not only that, he seemed to be inextricably linked to these 2 great positions of true god, and the degree of compatibility was very high. Unlike Jingqiu didn't have any fate with the god of Lu. Hence, after he obtained the great position of the god of Lu, he barely became a true god, but it wasn't perfect. He could only increase his lifespan and combat power, and develop all kinds of divine arts. But longevity god was different. Whoosh! After longevity god obtained the 2 true gods' broken god countries and true god thrones, he did not stay here any longer. He stimulated the world force and instantly restored this place to its original appearance. The silt covered the riverbed, and he quietly left the divine central continent. He did not return to the new divine central continent created by Wan Senshi. Instead, he flew towards the sea, tore space, and shuttled back and forth. After a day and a night, he found a desolate island. Landing on the island, longevity god pointed his finger, and the island slowly shifted away, revealing a deep ocean eye below. He dived deeper into the ocean eye, and the island returned to its original place, covering the ocean eye. At this time, Gu Qinsha was in the depths of longevity god's dust world, and he could clearly feel all of this. Every move of longevity god, even if it was a thought, was under his control. Longevity god descended to the depths of the sea, and had already dived for tens of thousands of miles. This depth was probably something that only gods could reach. In the ocean of the endless mainland, some of the ocean eyes were so deep that one could not see the bottom. Even an existence like Wan Senshi could not measure it. The so-called endless mainland, how high the sky was, how thick the earth was, this was something that could not be measured. The endless mainland seemed to be constantly changing, and it was in a state of change at every moment. It was precisely because of this that no one could figure out the laws of the endless mainland. Rumble. Finally, longevity god came to an ancient ruin. This ruin was a disk with a radius of hundreds of miles. It looked like a plate, and it looked like a product left behind by a prehistoric civilization, and not a magic treasure of the immortal Tao. This disk was silver-white in color, and it had a metallic luster. It was unknown what material it was made of, and even Gu Qinsha could not recognize it. But one thing was for sure, longevity god had hidden himself very deeply, and he had actually obtained some kind of relic of a prehistoric civilization. Longevity god directly entered this disk, and it turned out to be a world inside. However, it was not created with magic power, but a kind of fluctuation, a strange fluctuation. It was the power of the disk itself. In the world inside the disk, there were not mountains and rivers, but silver-white factories, which gave off the feeling of the heavenly craftsman institution. Many silver-white, golden yellow, and even purple puppets maintained a sudden motionless movement. It seemed like these puppets were originally working, but something suddenly happened, causing these puppets to lose their lives, freezing at this moment. There are many secrets in this disk. Gu Qinsha knew that he might be able to peek into the secrets of the prehistoric civilization. The world inside the disk also had many damaged places. If it was a tool to cross the universe, then it could not be activated at all. However, hiding inside seemed to be able to isolate all auras. Obviously, after obtaining such a huge benefit, longevity god wanted to hide here and completely digest and refine this fortuitous encounter. When he came out of seclusion, his microscopic world would reach its peak, and as long as he could seize the true god position of longevity god, he would be able to upgrade it to a minor 1,000 world in one fell swoop. At that time, he would be a tyrant. Fortune, longevity, 3 elements of fate, attacking the Saint Realm, the Tao of Truth. After longevity god sat down, he began to cultivate. In his world, the wind and clouds surged, the world rotated, and all living beings knelt down, thinking that the god was angry, causing them to tremble. At this time, longevity god comforted them. My believers, don't be afraid, don't panic. As long as you sincerely pray, this world will upgrade. From now on, you will all obtain great benefit. Your God, which is me, longevity God, has obtained the true God position and become a true God. At this time, Gu Chencha's body slightly changed as he urged the heavenly law and began to penetrate into longevity God's world. However, longevity God could not sense it at all. It must be known that for more than a year, Gu Chensha had been urging the heavenly law to compete with Xing Qiong clan. To penetrate into the body of the divine continent's fiercest, how much training was this? Compared to Xing Qiong clan, even if longevity god obtained the 3 great god positions, it was still not worth mentioning. Therefore, Gu Chensha could easily control this world. Moreover, his incarnation of Ghost Cry had been operating in this world for a long time, so he had already grasped some of the details, even the mental state of longevity god's many empires and believers. Don't underestimate longevity god. In the depths of this world, there were actually 200 to 300 million people. With 3 empires restricting one another and competing with one another, they were filled with motivation. This was pretty much the limit of what the world could contain. Next, the world was about to expand once more. Now, the fortune gods and longevity gods' broken divine kingdoms, along with the dense minor kiliacosm energy, poured into the minute dust world. Immediately, the space expanded and countless mountains, rivers, and vast lands were born. Spiritual energy crazily filled the entire world, and everyone obtained many benefit. The 2 true God positions suppressed the world, causing its foundations to be so stable that it was simply indestructible. At this moment, longevity God's body had already merged with the 2 true God positions. As he cultivated intensely, the true God positions allowed his cultivation to become even purer. Kacha. Something in longevity God's body seemed to shatter, but then something seemed to form. A truth saint heart jumped up. Longevity God finally reached Saint Realm, Tao Realm 33 transformations, Truth Saint Heart. He grasped 2 true God positions and cultivated to Saint Realm, causing his strength to increase by more than several times. Ha 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 ha! His will came out of his world and laughed. Calming chaos Taoist, you and I have fought for many years. Now I can suppress you with a flick of my finger. However, if I obtain the blessing God position, with the 3 gods combined, I will have hope of breaking through to Empyrean realm. While speaking, longevity God looked at the silver-white space around him. This is a prehistoric treasure I found. Unfortunately, I don't know how to use it. It's incompatible with immortal spells, so I can't refine it. This treasure has great power. If I can decipher its secret, my strength will probably improve further. But now I have no other way. Maybe if I obtain the blessing God position and combine the 3 gods, there will be hope. He was about to leave this place, but when his body moved, he unexpectedly did not fly up, because he felt that his small-sized world seemed to be out of control. This was almost impossible. What's going on? Longevity God was shocked. Did I go berserk? That's impossible. Longevity God. At this moment, a figure appeared in front of him. Longevity God looked at this person, and his heart shrank to the extreme. You are Gu Chensha. Are you the one who is controlling my particle world? Even my body? What do you want? Chapter 679. Gu Chensha, your ghost weep. You've already made arrangements in the depths of my minute dust world. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lost so miserably. At this time, Longevity God was enlightened and already knew something. That's right, Ghost Weep is my incarnation. I've been in your minute dust world for a long time. After familiarizing myself with the various changes, I began to infiltrate it. Gu Chensha admitted, Longevity God, you don't need to be shocked. This is a huge opportunity for you. If you sincerely work for our calming immortal department, you will definitely reap some harvest. Now that I'm under your control, do you want to kill me? Longevity God's hopes turned to dust. Didn't I say that I won't kill you? Moreover, what's the use of you colluding with Wan Senshi? Could it be that you obtained more benefits than us? Wan Senshi is just using you. In the past, Gu Chensha didn't dare to subdue Longevity God because this god was cunning and difficult to control. But now Gu Chensha didn't care about this. He had absolute strength. As long as Longevity God submitted to him, he wouldn't be able to play any trick. If he couldn't even deal with this little the Great Spirit God, then how could he deal with the real the Great Spirit God? The Great Spirit God had devoured the sorcerer ancestor, so his current cultivation was probably at the same level as Wan Senshi. At this point, Gu Chensha was sure that he could play with Longevity God in the palm of his hand. If he could subdue Longevity God, then it would be very beneficial for him to deal with the Great Spirit God and Wan Senshi in the future. Moreover, the Great Spirit God had a huge destiny on him, which would give him a place in the Great Tribulation. If he could subdue him, it would also be of great benefit to the calming immortal department. This was equivalent to the world falling into chaos. If some general stars were subdued by a king in advance, then it would be an earth-shattering help to the country. You really won't kill me? My life and death are in your hands now. I didn't expect you to be able to completely control me without using the power of a dimensional realm. Longevity God tried his best to think of a way to escape. He thought of thousands of ways, but all of them were dead ends. If I didn't have absolute confidence, how would I be able to control you? Gu Chensha smiled. In truth, I've been fighting with the Xingqiong clan recently, and my magic power has increased greatly. Your Highness has remarkable abilities. It seems that you won't give up until you subdue me today? Longevity God smiled bitterly. If I don't know what's good for me, I'm afraid my fate will be very miserable. Of course, Gu Chensha bluntly said, if you refuse to come to your senses, then I will forcibly enlighten you. Although you have become a saint, you are still pitifully weak in front of my dimensional realm. But if I forcibly enlighten you, then your destiny will be changed and your destiny will also be weakened. The gains do not make up for the losses. What I need is your fortune, so I want you to sincerely rely on me. Besides, we're enemies to begin with. By siding with Wan Senshi, you've already gone against the imperial court. Now that I've formed an alliance with the Buddhist sect, I will reform the teachings of the Buddhist sect. Turning it into a Zen culture, cultivators will curse the Buddhist sect's ancestors without any taboo. They will immediately be enlightened. This is not a religion, so in the future, the Golden Permitha Mountain will also be in my pocket. Don't doubt that I can't enlighten you. I can already use the power of the Golden Permitha Mountain. As he spoke, a huge mass of Buddha's light appeared in Gu Chensha's palm. The Buddha's light was vast and profound. There seemed to be countless tiny Buddhas singing scriptures within it. Layers of space were brewing within it. Longevity God's face changed dramatically. He could clearly feel the power of the Golden Permitha Mountain left behind by the ancient Buddhist sect. This power could turn the world upside down, and it could enlighten all powerful existences. He was no exception. In the past, the Buddhist sect had enlightened countless ancient heavenly devils. Once he was enlightened, he would lose his ability to think. In the eyes of Longevity God, he would be no different from a puppet. At the same time, Longevity God's face changed dramatically. He seemed to have made up his mind and immediately knelt on one knee. Subordinate Zhang Sanquan kowtows in salute to Your Highness. From now on, I am Your Highness's man. No matter what happens, I will never frown. Zhang Sanquan, is this your real name? Sure enough, you have the three virtues of Fu, Lu, and longevity now. Gu Chunxia always grasped this secret. In that case, you can cultivate my great common people's universal purification scripture. Through my calculations, this scripture has integrated the three great magical powers of Fu, Lu, and longevity, which will be a huge benefit to you. I don't think you have yet to comprehend the true essence of the three virtues. As he spoke, Gu Chunxia transmitted a thought into Longevity God's mind. When Longevity God sensed this intent, his expression changed once more, then extreme shock appeared on his face. This scripture contains endless knowledge, it even perfectly fuses the Tao of longevity and fortune true gods. Many of my problems in cultivation are easily solved by this scripture. This is simply seizing the supreme Tao of creation and making up for my flaws. Even if the three true gods were to reincarnate, they wouldn't be able to divine such an existence. Yes, this is what I have calculated. I have been fighting with Xing Qiongshi for more than a year. I have calculated all the Tao techniques, scattered them, and recombined them, making up for each other and fusing with each other. It can be said that even if the three true gods were resurrected, their fusion of the three virtues would not be as good as mine. My understanding of spells and destiny is already at the level of an Empyrean. Since you can rely on me today, it is naturally a blessing planted in you. Now you know that what I said is true. Gu Chunxia has already calculated the entire Great Common People's universal purification scripture. The mysteries of this scripture can be said to be all-encompassing, far surpassing the previous ones. In the Minor God province, many monster race cultivators have already taken human form while cultivating this scripture. The Minor Thousand World formed by the Minor God province is getting bigger and bigger. Its power has already surpassed the majority of Profound Gate worlds. Even with Longevity God's cultivation base, he can't understand what is contained in this scripture. The more he studied, the more terrifying he felt. Deep in his heart, he unknowingly developed a kind of reverence for Gu Chunxia. Gu Chunxia can accurately grasp the psychological changes of Longevity God. If this God cultivates his great common people's universal people's universal people's universal people's universal people's universal people's purification scripture, then he would have an unusual karma with him. Their destinies would be linked, and he wouldn't be afraid of Longevity God rebelling. This scripture is just that mysterious. After a full 7 days and 7 nights, Longevity God seems to have digested some of Gu Chenxia's comprehensions, and his cultivation base improved once more. But when he opened his eyes, he suddenly felt that his destinies and destiny have been linked together with the calming immortal department. One prospers, one perishes, one perishes. This is. His cultivation base has already reached the Tao realm's 33 transformations, the truth sacred heart, and he has become a saint. The next moment it will be the 34 transformations, the control of destiny. This realm is not very difficult for him. Actually, after obtaining the God countries of Longevity God and Blessing God, in addition to the 2 true God positions and Gu Chenxia's guidance, Longevity God's future cultivation path will be smooth sailing. It is not impossible for him to directly reach the 36 transformations. So, he is very clear about the Tao of destiny. Seeing that his fate had already merged with the fate of the calming immortal department, he sighed. He knew that it was impossible for him to betray and destroy the calming immortal department. If the calming immortal department declined, it would be hard for him to avoid being weakened. Of course, if the calming immortal department prospers, his status will also rise, and he will obtain more benefits. This is the Tao of karmic connection that I derived from the Son of Heaven's God-sealing art. Right now, you're equivalent to a member of the imperial court. If the imperial court is destroyed, the other ministers might be able to rely on other powers, but think about it. Would the imperial family be able to survive? They will definitely be killed by the new dynasty, lest they are used by others. Gu Chensha said, "Longevity God, I value you very much. As soon as you joined our calming immortal department, you became an existence similar to a king. You are only below me, Zhuge Lu Baiwei and Gu Huasha. You are even on equal footing with Jin Suebua. Your status is so high, and you can even share the secrets of our dimensional realm. What else are you dissatisfied with? Could it be that Wan Senshi values you so much?" Subordinate thanks Your Highness. At this time, Longevity God knew that he was truly connected to the calming immortal department. Very good. Since you have changed your mind, then I can rest assured. Gu Chensha said, "Your cultivation can also be considered a giant, but you still lack the position of God of Destiny to reach perfection. Currently, the position of God of Destiny is in the hands of Jingqiu. That person has also cultivated to the God realm and obtained the assistance of the Dharma saint. He wholeheartedly manages his holy Sama empire and even opposes us. Now we will go and obtain his position of God of Destiny and integrate it into your body. I will train you to become a supergiant." Yes. Longevity God's face lit up with joy. He was a practical person. Since Destiny and the calming immortal department were working together, then the higher his strength was, the stronger the calming immortal department would be. The stronger the calming immortal department was, the more things he would obtain. This was a matter of complementing each other. Your Highness, I have obtained the position of Longevity God and Blessing God. Now that I have consolidated my world force, defeating Jingqiu won't be difficult. However, Jingqiu has taken refuge in the Dharma Saint, and his subordinate, Jing Fanxing, was even accepted as a disciple by Wan Senshi. If we try to obtain the position of God of Destiny, then we might be besieged by these two existences. I'm afraid it will be very difficult. Longevity God was very clear about the various forces. Chapter 680. Next, Gu Chensha will seize the position of Lu God step by step. This way, Longevity God's cultivation will reach the limit and he will be able to better contribute to the calmness immortal department. If Longevity God obtains 3 true God positions, with his luck and cultivation speed, he will soon have great strength, which will be very useful in the battle against the Xingqiong clan. Of course, this is also killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It can also destroy Wan Senshi's plan in the desert. The reason why Wan Senshi attaches so much importance to Jing Fanxing and gave him all kinds of treasures is actually for the sake of the desolate desert. Your Highness, then shall we go find Jingqiu now? Longevity God Zhang Sanquan is also a bit eager. After obtaining the Longevity God and Blessing God positions, he has a kind of sick pursuit for Lu God's true God position. Although he is called Zhang Sanquan, he is still Wu Lu. But Your Highness, Jingqiu's plan is very big. He seems to want to control the desolate desert's heart. This way, he will be able to have invincible power. In fact, this is what Wan Senshi is planning. The small holy Sama empire is no longer in his eyes. Longevity Immortal spoke his opinion. Not bad, for you to speak of this ancient secret shows your sincerity. You have already completely connected with our luck. Helping us is helping yourself. Gu Chensha is very gratified. The entire desert is called the Desolate Desert. It is the opposite of the Desolate Desert. The Desolate Desert has many plants, while the Desolate Desert has no life. However, in the depths of the Desolate Desert, there are many mysteries. Since ancient times, the desolate desert, and the desolate sea. The 4 desolate lands include the divine continent. Outside of the 4 desolate lands, there are many vast lands, but the 4 desolate lands are extremely mysterious. Rumor has it that those who can obtain the recognition of the 4 desolate hearts will have great achievements. Gu Chunsha is very clear about this. The Dharma saint cultivated Gu Changjian to infiltrate the barbarians. Now that he has started to establish his regime, he wants to rely on this to obtain the desolate heart, then devour the entire desolate continent and integrate it into his own world. This way, his world will have unlimited power. Wan Senshi is also thinking of this. The desolate sea is the boundless sea. The desolate sea has a master in the past and had the power to overturn the world. In short, the heart of the 4 desolates existed in the depths of the 4 desolate. The importance of the heart of the 4 desolates was only below that of the primordial dragon gate, the heaven-offering decree, and the primordial tree. Any one of the 4 great wild's hearts contained a tremendous amount of power. If a minor dimension obtained one, it would immediately rise to the peak of a medium dimension, infinitely close to a major dimension. If Immortal Master Wan could obtain the complete heart of the 4 desolates, then he could become the first living being in history to break through to the heaven's primal realm. He would be able to condense his own world, and at that time, his cultivation would reach an inconceivable level. I know what Immortal Master Wan and the Dharma Sage are thinking. You don't have to worry about it. Gu Chunsha waved his hand. Put away the prehistoric civilizations plate. Let's go to the desolate sea and find Jingqiu. Your Highness, I can't absorb this plate with my world force. It seems to be connected to the entire sea. Longevity God hurriedly said. Is that so? We are in the middle of the sea, and the sea eye is inside the desolate sea. Gu Chunsha said. This plate is a relic of the prehistoric civilization. This civilization relies on external objects, which is no small matter. If developed to the extreme, it would be on par with our immortal Tao civilization. You are already a sage. You can operate the heavenly Tao and create a world, but you can't even pick up this plate. From this, it can be seen that this treasure is something that surpasses the Empyrean realm. While talking, Gu Chensha's thought seeped in. He is using the Heavenly Tao technique. The Heavenly Tao technique is a mysterious technique that controls everything. It's a supreme technique, and a supreme technique. This technique, combined with Gu Chensha's current strength and his comprehension of countless truths, seeped into the plate and began to circulate, penetrate, and peek at the fundamental mystery of the plate. Longevity God's expression changed once again. In his eyes, the plate, which didn't budge no matter how he tried to absorb it, began to shrink. Strange fluctuations spread out from it, and he could vaguely hear the sound of a cosmic tide. That's right, this is the terrifying cosmic tide. Even an existence on the level of Immortal Master Wan was extremely afraid of the cosmic tide. But this plate can actually give birth to a cosmic tide? Whoosh! After another half a month, Gu Chensha's condensation of the plate came to an end. He suddenly waved his hand, and the huge plate completely shrank and fell into his grasp. So that's how it is. Gu Chensha looked at the plate and saw that it seemed to be broken, with only a small part remaining. He slowly said, Longevity God, you really are an existence with great destiny, to be able to obtain something like this. I used the Heavenly Tao technique to seep into it and refine it for half a month. Only then did I discover some secrets and information. Originally, this item was created by the prehistoric civilization to pass the great calamity of the apocalypse. It's called the Epoch Plate. Sadly, before it could be created, the world changed. The prehistoric civilization disappeared, and the prehistoric civilization was born, followed by the primeval age and the immortal Tao civilization. The epic cruiser was destroyed, and we only got a small piece of it. but it still represents the highest technology of the prehistoric civilization. As long as I can decipher it, I can comprehend some of the mysteries of the prehistoric civilization. The fragment itself has immense power, and if placed in a dimensional world, it can activate some of the mysteries of the cosmic tide. I can use the magic of the immortal Tao to refine it into a treasure, and it might even pose a threat to the Xingqiong clan. I can't believe this treasure has such an origin. In that case, the Celestial Calmness Department's destiny will increase even more. Longevity God's expression was one of gratification. His destiny was now connected to the Celestial Calmness Department, and for his own sake, he wanted the Celestial Calmness Department to prosper. That was Gu Chensha's Tao of destiny. This is your destiny, Longevity God said. In the future, you'll have even more good fortune to come across. After the great calamity, the black energy consumed the sun, causing it to waver and give birth to the Lord of the Sun-Moon. Whoever becomes the Lord of the Sun and Moon first will have a greater destiny than the Celestial Calmness Division. In the past, the Celestial Calmness Division was nothing more than a tiny government office, unremarkable and unremarkable. Many of the powerful figures didn't care about it at all. But at that time, I managed to gain the support of the Lord of Seven Stars. Because of that, my destiny grew rapidly, and now I've finally become a dimensional realm. For the peace of the world, we need to obtain the Lord of the Sun-Moon to increase our destiny. I've researched this, but I can't divine the location of the Lord of the Sun-Moon's birth. According to what I know, Wan Senshi and the Celestial Lord have joined hands to capture the Lord of the Sun-Moon, said Longevity God. I already have some ideas about this. Gu Chensha flew into the air and tore through the void. Let's head into the desolate desert first. Longevity God also tore through the air and followed behind Gu Chensha. At this time, within the celestial calmness world, the Dharma saint was sitting there, as if he was divining all things. The Celestial Calmness Department's dimensional world was growing larger and larger. Many experts were flying around, and it seemed like a prosperous place. Next to the Dharma saint was another person. He was handsome, unrestrained, arrogant, and wild. He looked down on all the heroes in the world. It was Fa Wuxian. At this moment, Fa Wuxian's realm actually broke through and he reached the Tao Realm Transformation 29, Comprehend Chaos Realm. The Dharma Saint seemed to have injected many treasures into his body, allowing him to quickly raise his cultivation while also consolidating his foundations. Hong Long. A giant explosion spread out from Fa Wuxian's body. The space around his body shook and the entire space turned into a world. Creating a world. Tao Realm Transformation 30. Fa Wuxian had turned into God Realm. Ha ha ha, thank you, old ancestor. I have finally reached God Realm. From now on, I can do whatever I want in the world. Fa Wuxian gathered the world power and retracted it into his body. A small world rotated in his body to provide him with huge power. Innumerable streams of chaotic energy descended from the sky and entered his tiny dust world, transforming into some mountains, rivers, and the like. Gu Chensha, you are just at Tao Realm Transformation 28, vacuum shattering. You can just condense your own space. I have finally walked in front of you. Once I cultivate once more, I will kill you and let everyone in the world see that you are just a piece of skin. Fa Wuxian also had his own thoughts. He was a proud and arrogant person, and he had suffered a great loss at the previous court meeting. He had to compensate for the law enforcement blade that the Warlock Saint had given him. This was a great humiliation to him. Although Gu Chensha's realm isn't as high as yours, if you fight, even if he doesn't use his medium-sized world power and just relies on his own strength, you won't be his match. Remember not to be arrogant. The Dharma Saint warned, this person's cultivation has reached a level where he has comprehended the essence of things. Not to mention you reaching God Realm, Even if you improve and reach the saint realm of the 33 transformation truth saint heart, you won't be able to do anything to him. He will be able to suppress and kill you. Fa Wuxian's aura slowly weakened. Dharma saint, then what should I do now? You are a magnanimous person. The Dharma saint said, you were born a saint and you were born into the world. As for Gu Chunsha, he is a chess piece that ancient treading on immortals had set up. He defies the heavens, opposes the Tao, and steals the will of heaven. You can't do anything to him for now, but given time, you can fight him for a long time, and you will definitely be able to obtain great karmic luck. The Tao of heaven needs people like you to support the will of heaven. This is your foundation. Chapter 681. The Lord of the Sun and Moon has already been born. However, even I can't predict where he is. I can only observe the sky to see if there are any clues. However, you can patrol around. Maybe you will be fated to meet him. The Warlock Saint observed again. Lord Dharma Saint, I feel that even the Celestial Tranquility Department has formed an alliance with the Universe Mystic Sect, Tai Mystic Sect, and Heavenly Dance Mystic Sect, but we are still hesitating. What are they thinking? Fa Wuxian's face turned cold, especially the Wu clan. The dead martial emperor actually regained the throne, and his cultivation base is unfathomable. Even King Wu Yu and the other old fellows have completely surrendered to him. Wu Dongkong's control over the Martial Saint Cave has been taken away, and Martial Emperor doesn't listen to our arrangements. The other aristocratic families are also paying lip service to us. On one hand, they are flirting with Wan Senshi, but on the other hand, they are pretending to be courteous to us. What a fence-sitter. Originally, Martial Emperor's cultivation base was taken away by the Celestial Tranquility Department, and even his divergent heart was taken away to be refined into the foundation of the common people's wish sphere. Dharma Saint seemed to know everything, however. Wan Senshi created Martial Emperor at all costs. He even used the first Emperor's seal, Emperor's life talisman, King's life flag, General's life sword, and Human Master's saber, the 5 supreme Xiantian treasures. Especially the first Emperor's seal, which was the first Emperor's Qi produced in the Chaos Explosion. The so-called Emperor's Qi is the true meaning of managing the order of all living beings. Other than that, Wan Senshi used his own supreme Xian Qi to wash away the karma and vanity of Martial Emperor's past, leaving only a bit of vitality in the depths of his heart. Thus, Martial Emperor's cultivation base completely recovered, and he condensed the divergent heart once again. Furthermore, he improved even further. Now that so long has passed, Martial Emperor has cultivated hard and obtained some miraculous encounters. If I am not wrong, he might have cultivated to the 35th transformation of the Tao realm, Chaos Dust, or even the 36th transformation of the Embodiment transformation. So powerful? Fa Wuxian shuddered. Isn't that another Chang Wei-yang? The Martial Emperor was originally a figure who could turn the world upside down. He had created an era. In the tens of thousands of years of the Divine Continent's history, apart from the imperial court's Gu Taxian, the great Wu dynasty that he created was the most powerful and prosperous. Thus, the Martial Emperor enjoyed a great deal of luck. Martial Emperors have made great contributions to the Divine Land. The Dharma Saint said, because of this, he survived 2 tribulations. Since he is supported by Wan Senshi, and his cultivation has reached the pinnacle, he naturally wants to establish his own sect. Now that he has the complete control of the Martial Saint's abode, why would he come to me and form an alliance with me? As for the other aristocratic clans, when they see that the Wu clan isn't willing, they will act on their own and want to obtain benefits from me and Wan Senshi. These people are truly shrewd. Then how are we going to suppress the various aristocratic clans? Fa Wuxian was still a little anxious. The Celestial Calming Department has already controlled the 3 great mystical sects and is still recruiting allies. Every day that passes, the world's population will increase by a lot, and the Celestial Calming Department's luck will also explode. If we don't make a move to split up the world, after another 8 to 10 years, after the Celestial Calming Department stabilizes, our legalism will still be suppressed. The world's luck is just like a raging fire, and we mustn't give the Celestial Calming Department any more time. I know about this too. How could the Dharma saint not understand? But now, putting aside the fact that Wan Senshi is holding us back, there is still the Heavenly Craft Institution in the Imperial Court. There is someone who is on the same level as Wan Senshi, and that is the Celestial Master. When I fight with the Celestial Calming Department, these people will just stand by and watch. Then, when both sides are injured, they will come out to take advantage of us. Could it be that these people are just going to watch as the Celestial Calming Department grows stronger? Fa Wuxian said, "The stronger my cultivation, the clearer I can see the general situation of the world. The Celestial Calming Department governs the country, paying attention to the flow of talents and resources, and developing transportation. Their luck is getting more and more prosperous. As they expand their territory, if they can build transportation formations, the world's luck will reach a whole new realm. When that time comes, I'm afraid we will be at a complete disadvantage." The world was now extremely stable. As the disciples of the Common People's Wish Academy increased in number, they became more and more tyrannical. They had completely controlled the various basic levels of the prefectures, provinces, prefectures, counties, towns, villages, and so on. Furthermore, the roads were now well developed. Not only were the waterways accessible, railroads were also being built everywhere. Other than that, huge flying ships were also flying in the sky endlessly. Compared to before, transportation was many times better. Transportation was the circulation of a country's blood. The more developed it was, the faster the flow of talents and resources would be, and the more prosperous the country would be. Right now, the Celestial Calming Department could be said to have reached the pinnacle. Their next step was to start building transportation gates, allowing people to travel from all over the world in an instant. You're right, but building transportation gates all over the world isn't something that those little fellows from the Celestial Calming Department can do. Dharma Saint said, at the very least, they need several Empyrean-level masters to oversee their dimensional realms. Only then will they have an endless supply of strength. Right now, they're just guarding their dimensional realm's treasure mountain, not knowing how to use it. How laughable. Is Lord Dharma Saint waiting for the battle between Chang Wei-yang and Douyu? Fa Wuxian said, if Chang Wei-yang breaks through to the Empyrean realm and returns, then the Celestial Calming Department will naturally be incomparably prosperous. I'm afraid we'll have to retreat and come up with a new plan. If Chang Wei-yang is defeated or dies, then we can use many hidden chess pieces to cause the Celestial Calming Department to collapse. It's not just me. Many major forces are waiting for the final result of this matter, Dharma Saint said. I believe that it won't be long before the results of their battle are out. It's already the 30th year of the Heavenly Talisman. In the land of infinity, 36 is the supreme ruler. The highest level of the Tao realm is also the 36 transformations, or embodiment transformation. So, I think that the fate of the great Yonko will be very difficult for 36 years. By that time, the world will have changed greatly. For us, 6 years is just the blink of an eye. However, Fa Wuxian's expression was somewhat anxious. I don't know to what extent the Celestial Calming Department will grow in 6 years. After all, they control the world. Even if our legalism forms a dimensional realm, the fate we obtain will still be far inferior to theirs. You know this, but Wan Senshi, Immortal Master, and many other existences don't know this? Dharma Saint said. If we wait and see, we'll definitely gain something. If we make the first move, others will have an opportunity to take advantage of us. The most important thing right now is to annex those aristocratic families one by one, such as the Lei family, the Fan family, the Heng family, and so on. All aristocratic families with minor chiliocosms must come under our control. Yes. This time, I've become a god because I want to do this for Lord Dharma Saint. Fa Wuxian had many plans in mind. You've become a god, and your fate has increased as well. You have a lot of choices for your future. You should roam the divine central continent and recruit some existences with great fate themselves. You should establish an organization to fight against the Celestial Calming Department. Given your methods, how can you not be a match for the disciples of the Common People's Wish Academy and the General of all people? As far as I know, Zhuge Ye has already started doing this long ago, Dharma Saint said. If that's the case, Fa Wuxian said, then I'll just have to fight it out with Zhuge Ye. The world is changing, and people with great destiny are emerging one after another. If the Celestial Calming Department takes them all in, will we even have a share? With that, he clasped his hands, then left the secondary chiliocosm and headed back to the divine central continent. At the same time, in the old capital of the divine central continent, there was a mansion that belonged to the Celestial Calming Department. Zhuge Ye was drinking tea and playing chess with someone else. This person was a young man with an elegant demeanor. He was none other than Ling Xiaofei. Clack! As soon as Zhuge Ye made his move, he locked down Ling Xiaofei's chess game. No matter how Ling Xiaofei thought about it, he couldn't think of a way out. In the end, he could only concede defeat. The Lord of 7 Stars really is the Lord of 7 Stars. We competed in the 4 arts, the 4 arts, the 4 arts, the way of governance, and the way of the world. I lost 18 times in a row. I'm completely convinced. Ling Xiaofei rose to his feet. It seems that the Celestial Calming Department is truly worthy of my support. I'll join the Celestial Calming Department right away. Good. A smile finally appeared on Zhuge Ye's face. With Xiaofei's help, the Celestial Calming Department will be like a tiger that has grown wings. Not at all, not at all. The directors of the Celestial Calming Department are all talented and bold, especially His Highness Prince Gu Chernxia. He's capable of calming heaven and earth, suppressing the primordial chaos, protecting the divine continent, and uprooting the 4 seas. There's no way I can compare to him. Ling Xiaofei hurriedly said, I actually admire the ideals of the Celestial Calming Department. If I can join them and do something for the common people and humanity, then my life won't be in vain. Xiaofei, if you think like that, you'll definitely have great luck. Zhuge Ye sighed in praise. We've all come together because of the same ideals. We're definitely not tied together by profit. Since Xiaofei wants to join us, then you're one of us. Now I'll take you to the secondary chiliocosm. Ling Xiaofei's expression was solemn as he clasped his hands and said, I'm willing to follow your orders. The Celestial Calming Department had gained another crucial talent. Originally, Ling Xiaofei had been targeted by Douyu, so there was no way he could have survived. However, Douyu had been challenged by Chang Weiyang, so he had no time to care about Ling Xiaofei. Thus, he was immediately recruited by Zhuge Ye and became a member of the Celestial Calming Department. Ling Xiaofei himself was very powerful, and he had many fortuitous encounters. His cultivation speed was also very fast, and he would advance to the divine level sooner or later. After the Celestial Calming Department gained him, it would be no less than gaining a big shot like Jin Suebua. Just like that, one's strength was accumulated bit by bit. Of course, Zhuge Ye's gains were still inferior to Gu Chenxia's. Chapter 682. Amazing, our Calming Xian Department has gained another layer of fate. The moment Ling Xiaofei joined the Calming Xian Department, with a thought, Gu Chernxia and Longevity God arrived at the vast ocean desert. Gu Chunxia observed the karmic luck and discovered that the vast karmic luck of the calming immortal department had once again gained a considerable spiritual aura. With a little deduction, he knew what had happened. Ling Xiaofei was someone who possessed the two-star profound meaning of spirit flight. Wherever he went, he would be able to obtain fortuitous encounters. For such a person to wholeheartedly pledge allegiance to the calming immortal department, the benefits he would receive would not be any less than a monarch who was contending for hegemony in the mortal world, obtaining an invincible general and peerless advisor. If there were dozens of such talents, the calming Xian department would at least double in size. Mr. Zhuge has roped this person into our calming Xian department. In time, this person will also be able to cultivate to the God realm. Longevity God felt that his fate seemed to have increased, so he couldn't help but say, "I and the calming immortal sea are bound together for good and bad." After Ling Xiaofei joined our calming immortal sea, the overall fate of the calming immortal sea increased, and so did I. My future path has more choices and changes. It seems like you are about to break through to the Tao realm's 34 transformations and control fate. You can clearly feel your fate increasing. This is not an easy thing to do. Gu Chunxia nodded inwardly and warned Longevity God. Our calming immortal division has only been established for a few years, and our forces are very simple. We don't have any obstacles or intertwined forces. This is a great advantage for many ancient forces. Therefore, as long as you work hard to improve your cultivation, your destiny will also increase. At the same time, our calming immortal division will also become more profound because of your destiny. This is the principle of resonance, and also the benefit of joining a large organization. This subordinate understands. Longevity God knew what Gu Chunxia was going to say, so he quickly bowed and said, "Since this subordinate has joined the calming Xian department, I will never form a faction for personal gain and destroy the overall situation and fate. It's good that you understand. A country, an organization, and a sect all need to work together, which is the initial stage of all living beings being united." Gu Chunxia said, "If the fate of a sect is scattered for no reason, the loss outweighs the gain." This subordinate also understands this principle. Besides, after this subordinate joined the calming Xian department, I can clearly feel my fate snowballing. But after joining the alliance of 10,000 immortals, I don't have this feeling. This shows that I have chosen the right path. Very good. Gu Chunxia said, "Next, as long as you seize the great position of the god of Lu in Jingqiu, you will become the real Zhang Sanquan. It won't be strange for you to quickly cultivate to the peak of the 36 transformations. At that time, your luck will not be comparable to what you have now." The so-called fate was the right to choose the path of the future. There were countless paths in the future. When one reached the Tao realm's 24 transformations, peek into the future, he would be able to understand some of the changes in the future and thus avoid calamity. The Tao realm's 34 transformations, controlling fate, was to directly open up a path that was most suitable for oneself from a path that did not have a future. For example, fate was a long river, and the future was the many tributaries of this long river. Controlling fate was to open up another tributary from a tributary that did not exist before. It was not just a matter of having the right to choose but not the right to create. Moreover, when Longevity God joined the calming Xian department, his own fate and the calming Xian department's fate were connected, so it was normal for his fate to skyrocket. This was like if a genius struggled alone. His achievement would certainly not be as fast as if he joined a big organization. A big organization could give this genius more room for development and a lot of resources, allowing him to explode in an instant. And the instantaneous explosion of the genius would expand the organization itself. Once the organization expanded, it would obtain a lot of resources, which would be fed back to the genius himself. In this way, it would create a virtuous cycle and a snowballing promotion. Of course, if the forces in that big organization were intertwined, the genius who joined it would be buried and ground down. This was not a good thing. Longevity God, on the other hand, could be said to have a flood of good fortune as he joined the big organization of confrontations department. It just so happened that this organization was very pure and had no influence, allowing him to fully display his talent without being envied or hindered. In the alliance of 10,000 immortals, everyone was on guard against him. Wan Senshi even regarded him as an experimental subject, with no future at all. After such a conversation with Gu Chunxia, he completely understood. Gu Chunxia did not oppress people with force, nor did he use magic to enlighten them. Instead, he explained a series of facts from the perspective of truth, using the advantages of confrontations department to bind them, and finally made Longevity God wholeheartedly, no longer having the slightest doubt. His way of using people had once again improved to another level. Just when Longevity God dispelled the last trace of doubt in his heart, Gu Chunxia clearly felt that when his fate was connected with confrontations department, it was very pure, without the slightest impurity. As a result, Gu Chunxia had a deeper understanding of the way of governing a country and the way of making all living beings united. The way of cultivation is to first control oneself, then control all living beings. It is easy to control oneself, but it is extremely difficult to control all living beings. Therefore, since ancient times there are very few people who have achieved great things. The human heart is higher than the sky and deeper than the Tao. After experiencing so many things, I have a little understanding of some methods and principles. This time, being able to subdue Longevity God is not something that can be compared to obtaining 1 or 2 primordial treasures for my cultivation. Gu Chunxia secretly nodded and once again made a large-scale calculation in his mind. In order to consolidate my foundation, I stopped my cultivation at the 28th transformation of the Tao realm, crushing vacuum realm. Now I can break through at any time, but I still have to wait for a while. When Longevity God obtains the great position of the God of Fortune and Fortune, only then will the fate of confrontations department truly reach a certain realm. In that medium-sized world, there will be the 3 fates of Fortune, Fortune, and Longevity. With the illumination of the 3 lights, the power of the world will definitely be different, and it will produce a kind of essential evolution. The great position of the true God of the God of 5 seasons and the great position of the God of Fortune, Fortune, and Longevity had a huge supporting effect on the world. Everyone couldn't lack the 3 fates of Fortune, Fortune, and Longevity. If the 3 true God positions were brought into the medium-sized world of the confrontations department, then all the disciples of the confrontations department would have their fates increased by at least 30%. Your Highness, the Holy Sama Empire in the depths of the desert is really well managed. Longevity God interrupted Gu Chunxia's thoughts and pointed into the distance at the giant empire in the desert. In the center of the desert, far away from the divine central continent, the Holy Sama Empire was more than 10 times larger than before. In the desert there were many oases connected to one another. There were actually numerous lakes, and the water net started to interweave. Originally, no matter how much water there was in the desert, it couldn't be preserved and would have to seep down. However, the Holy Sama Empire used plant colloid and sand to form large stones that were as hard as granite. They used this material to create all sorts of rivers, lakes, water nets, and cities to store water. With water, everything was easy. In the desert, Jing Qiu was a true god. Coupled with a group of experts who knew magic and Jing Fanxing's hourly gate, he could travel to the wilderness, even the sea, and even very distant places at will. With this hourly gate, the transportation of supplies was not difficult. As a result, the entire Holy Sama Empire was not trapped in the depths of the desert and could not develop. Instead, it grew stronger and stronger. The huge city, the large population, the abundant water and supplies, and the constantly expanding greenery all gradually improved the vitality of the entire desert. As a result, Jing Qiu could obtain a huge and unparalleled luck and the blessing of the heart of desolation. Naturally, his cultivation base would rise steadily, and in a very short time, it could rise to a terrifying level. No matter how much Jing Qiu manages it, he can't compare to the current Yu. Gu Qinsha said to Longevity God, "Moreover, in the karma of fate, the position of God of Lu belongs to you. However, Jing Qiu is not a person to be underestimated. You can't let your guard down when fighting against him. Jing Qiu is one of your opponents. If you defeat him and obtain the position of God of Lu, it will be a huge training for you." "I know." Longevity God did not feel any fear. In his view, although Jing Qiu was strong, there was still a huge gap between them. One must know that back then, Jing Qiu was only an undying body of 25 Dao realm transformations, while Longevity God had long become a God realm god and was about to establish a large sect that was as famous as the primordial 72 sects. "Your Highness, I will handle this matter. I will definitely capture Jing Qiu alive and make him my subordinate. This will increase the luck of the Calm Immortal Department. This subordinate has entered the Calm Immortal Department and hasn't done anything at all, so I will use Jing Qiu as my contribution. Go." Gu Qinsha waved his hand. He knew that using Longevity God to deal with Jing Qiu was the best choice. Jing Qiu was cunning and had gone against Calming Immortal Department many times. He wholeheartedly wanted to rule the imperial court. Even if he failed, he didn't give up. It could be said that he had a firm will. Gu Qinsha naturally wouldn't take him in like Longevity God. Instead, he would forcefully enlighten him. If he couldn't be enlightened, then he would suppress and kill him to prevent him from becoming a scourge of the world. Of course, Jing Qiu was strong and Longevity God wasn't weak either. Longevity God was called the Great Spirit God, and he was even more cunning than Jing Qiu. During the battle between Longevity God and Jing Qiu, Gu Qinsha didn't show up. Instead, he hid in the back to see if Immortal Master Wan and Dharma Saint would come out to carry out some kind of conspiracy. In this way, he could be the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind it. "Jing Fanxing, you actually obtained Wan Senshi's favor once more and obtained that small space gate. Not bad. Unfortunately, you still can't use this treasure properly. Give it to me to create the God State and the Imperial Court. With this treasure, I can build many teleportation gates, allowing the commoners to travel faster. There will be no problems in transporting resources, and the Imperial Court's luck will increase by at least 30%. Gu Qinsha wanted to harvest Jing Fanxing once more. Chapter 683. Gu Qinsha went into hiding, while Longevity God directly landed in the capital of the Holy Sama Empire. The capital city was huge and majestic. The most eye-catching thing was the temple. The statue of Jing Qiu towered into the clouds. Layers of light radiated in all directions. There were thousands of rays of light and thousands of auspicious qi. Even at night, the entire capital city was illuminated so brightly that there was not a trace of darkness. This was a miracle. Countless people saw this statue, and their faith in the true God Jing Qiu became even more pious. Jing Qiu's way of ruling a country is indeed good. He combined faith and development to create a new civilization in the depths of the desert. This text, history, scriptures, myths, and even cultivation are all unique. In time, I'm afraid his achievements will be great. Longevity God directly stepped into a layer of space in the depths of the temple. This was Jing Qiu's dust world. Jing Qiu naturally had not yet been able to create his dust world into a small kiliacosm. Although he had a lot of means, a small kiliacosm was still a small kiliacosm. It needed a deep foundation to accumulate, and he was still very shallow. At this time, Jing Qiu was cultivating in his dust world, comprehending the mysteries. Below him was a throne, the great position of the true God, the title of the God of Lu. He was operating his own changes, combining with the great position of the God of Lu, making it even more intimate. Suddenly, the great position of the God of Lu emitted a fluctuation. It seemed that the deepest part of the core did not want to accept Jing Qiu. Jing Qiu's consciousness retreated and frowned. Sure enough, the great position of the true God needs the cooperation of fate and karma. I am not the successor of the God of Lu, and there is no fate to speak of with the God of Lu. Now that I have forcibly seized the great position of the true God, although I have gained enough benefits from it, such as increasing my lifespan and becoming a true God, I still lack the most crucial thing to perfect the fusion. But who am I, Jing Qiu? If a mere true God doesn't submit to me, then how can I laugh proudly in the world, control the universe, and become an invincible overlord and the one and only supreme God? Jing Qiu expressed an ambition that even the Dharma saint did not have. His ambitions were enormous. Back when he had been undying, he had dared to contact various forces to overthrow the imperial court. Although he had been defeated by Zhuge and the Jing clan had been captured and destroyed, he had been able to escape unscathed. Now, he had become much more powerful. Suddenly, he had a thought and his face lit up. Longevity God, I know you are here, come out. Jing Qiu is indeed Jing Qiu, as expected of the person chosen by the Dharma saint. Even Wan Senshi is full of praise for you. I didn't expect you to know I was coming. Longevity God appeared in Jing Qiu's dust world. It seems that your cultivation has improved? I know that God Lu's true God position is fated with you. You have to come and take it. If you don't take it, your cultivation method won't be perfect. This is your fatal weakness. Jing Qiu looked at Longevity God fiercely, and a bright light appeared on his body. Sure enough, you obtained the true God position of Longevity God and Blessing God, so you couldn't wait to come to me. It's natural for you to want to perfect all three positions. If an ordinary God obtains a true God position, it is a great fortune. You obtain two at once, and it also matches with your fate. In time, you will definitely achieve great result. After a little cleansing in the Great Tribulation, you can obtain the strongest magical power, and it won't be surprising for you to advance to the Heavenly Lord realm in the future. But you came to me and wanted to obtain the true God position of Lu God, which is a big mistake. What's the mistake? Longevity God was a bit curious. He looked around and said, Jing Qiu, you are really astute. You knew that I was coming, so you set up some things. You also know that I, Longevity God, have a great destiny. Sooner or later, I will obtain the true God position of Longevity God and Blessing God. So, you waited here and used the true God position of Lu God as bait. Aren't you afraid that I won't take the bait? Yes, Longevity God, you saw it very clearly. Why couldn't you help but fall into the trap? Jing Qiu sighed. Even if you obtained the three true God positions, it doesn't seem to be of any use. The true God position is only fated with me. Longevity God was not afraid at all. Moreover, you, Jing Qiu, not only can't do anything to me, but you will also dig a hole for yourself. Do you think you are my opponent? Then what if you add this concubine? A light laugh came out, and a charming woman appeared next to Jing Qiu. This woman's body rippled with a combination of bewitching and sacred luster. Behind this woman, 9 faintly appeared. Hugu God. Longevity God frowned slightly. Weren't you in the Heavenly Fiend book? Later, you were refined by Celestial Tranquility Department. Why are you still in the mortal world? The me in the Heavenly Fiend book is just a clone. Hugu God laughed. Celestial Tranquility Department destroyed my foundation and ruined my plans. If I don't take revenge, I am not human. With just you and Jing Qiu, you are just delivering food to me. Longevity God said. We are just subjects. The one who truly wants to subdue you is Lord North Star. At this time, Jing Qiu spoke. Back then, I received Lord North Star's help. He bestowed me with a Khanate treasure, the central Wuji virtuous flag. It could have gathered earth virtue and controlled the world. Unfortunately, it was destroyed by the Lord of Seven Stars. But Lord North Star's benevolence is not the same as before. This time, Lord North Star wants to reappear and take control of the situation. He wants to unify all the demons in the world and rebuild his banner. I naturally have to lend him a hand. Lord North Star has taken a fancy to your talent and has decided to take you as his subordinate. How about it? As long as you truly become his subordinate, my position as the true god of the Lu god will be yours. At this time, Jing Qiu unexpectedly bowed. Lord North Star, please show yourself. At this time, an enormous black hole appeared in the dust world. The black hole turned earthen yellow, and boundless earth power surged out. An existence that looked like a dragon yet wasn't a dragon, like a snake yet wasn't a snake appeared. It was North Star, the myriad demon progenitor, formed from the essence of the earth. This was a heavenly venerable level existence. North Star had appeared. North Star's body changed slightly, and it turned into a human. It was a man wearing an ancient yellow robe. His eyes were gloomy, his nose was tall, and his hair was earthen yellow. He stood in the air, and his body surged with boundless tyranny. The tyrannical will of the earth shook heaven and earth. Even Longevity God couldn't bear it and quickly retreated. It's actually the myriad demon progenitor, North Star. Longevity God finally understood why Jing Qiu was so confident. Jing Qiu had submitted to the Dharma Saint, and his position as the true god of the Lu god was bestowed to him by the Dharma Saint. His number one disciple, Jing Fanxing, was nurtured by Wan Senshi. Sandwiched between these two factions, Jing Qiu could be said to be a mouse in a bellows. He was bullied by both sides and his days were tough. However, he was really cunning and he actually brought in a third faction, the North Star. Once the North Star appeared, it could balance the conflict between the Dharma Saint and Wan Senshi and create a buffer for Jing Qiu. Longevity God. After the North Star appeared, he looked at Longevity God and said, "If you submit to me, work for me, and be my subject, I will let Jing Qiu give you the position of the Lu God, and let the three great true gods unite into one. This is a great thing. I also need a talent like you. When I sweep across the world again, the demon race will make a comeback. As long as you help me, I will use the supreme mysterious technique to help you advance and let you seize the nest of 10,000 dragons. At that time, the demon race will prosper, and you will be the number one hero." So that's what the North Star is planning. Longevity God immediately understood that he was a piece of delicious cake that everyone wanted to have. Immediately he said, "It turns out that Lord North Star is here. Since you think so highly of me, I should not refuse. But I am now a member of the Alliance of 10,000 Immortals. If I surrender to you, Wan Senshi will definitely make me die without a burial place. Don't worry about that. Since you have become an important subject under my command, I will never let Wan Senshi touch you." The North Star looked at Longevity God again. Longevity God looked doubtful. He knew that although the North Star was the ancestor of all demons, compared to Wan Senshi, he was still a bit inferior. Wan Senshi was older and more ancient than the three heavenly venerables, and he could even call them little guys. How could the North Star be the opponent of Wan Senshi? You just joined the alliance of 10,000 immortals, not really surrendered to Wan Senshi. Besides, Wan Senshi is just setting up the alliance of 10,000 immortals, and he doesn't treat it as a serious matter. The North Star said, "If you surrender to me now, Wan Senshi can't say anything. If he goes against me, he's just making an enemy out of thin air." Longevity God, promise him. It doesn't matter. I'm in your world of dust, and I can solve all the restrictive spells of the North Star. At this time, Gu Chencha's voice resounded in Longevity God's world of dust. Your Highness, you know all about it? Longevity God was startled. He knew that Gu Chernshah had remarkable abilities, but he didn't expect that Gu Chernshah was still hiding in his world of dust. Of course, I plan before I act, Gu Chernshah said. If I can't even deal with Jing Qiu, how can I fight against Wan Senshi and the other giants in the future? I've been fighting against Xing Qiong clan in the medium-class world, and I've honed my skills. Today, I can use the North Star to test my skills. Since your Highness is so sure, I will naturally obey your order. Longevity God was relieved. Immediately, he said to the North Star, Your Excellency North Star, since you think so highly of me, I will naturally obey your order. Now, I will surrender to Your Excellency North Star. If Your Excellency can give me the throne of Lu God, from now on, I will follow Your Excellency's orders. Chapter 684. Since you've pledged your allegiance to me, you must be sincere. The North Star God moved his finger, and a colorful seed floated in front of him. This is the seed of the heavenly demon tree that I've refined. If you sincerely pledge your allegiance to me, put this seed into your own world. This seed will turn into the heavenly demon tree, which will enrich your world and make it grow dozens of times faster than it is now. Of course, if you're disobedient and try to betray me, the heavenly demon tree can instantly absorb your world, and even your soul. If you accept and plant the seed of the heavenly demon tree, you'll be one of us, and I'll immediately give you the position of God of Lu. The seed of the heavenly demon tree. A look of extreme fear appeared on Longevity God's face. He knew that this was the strictest method that the North Star God was familiar with. Of course, it could also give great benefits to his subordinate. He also knew the mystery of the heavenly demon tree. By putting it into the world, it could quickly absorb the power of primal chaos, enrich the world, create the rules of the world, and make it stronger and more perfect. However, the control of this seed was in the hands of the North Star God. Once it was accepted, it would control the life and death of others, and it would no longer have freedom. It was not like him joining the Celestial Tranquility Department, where their fate was interlinked. One's glory was glory, and one's loss was also a loss. This was equivalent to being a minister of the imperial court, and not being completely controlled by others. Damn the North Star God, how dare they try to control me? Longevity God's heart was filled with hatred. This method is inferior, far inferior to Wan Senshi, and even worse than the Celestial Tranquility Department. But the strength of the North Star God is far above me. If I resist, I'm afraid I'll meet with misfortune. But if I just give in like this, I'm afraid I'll become suspicious. What? You don't want to? The North Star God's face changed. You'd better think it through. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Lord North Star God, I've joined the alliance of 10,000 immortals, and Wan Senshi didn't control me, so I'm free. Besides, I've now obtained the position of 2 true gods, and my cultivation base has reached the 33 changes Saint Heart of Truth, becoming a sage. The world is vast, where can't I go? After a period of time, my cultivation base will certainly reach the 35 changes, or even the 36 changes, and I'll cultivate my world to become a minor 1,000 immortal world, and become a celestial sect. My status will be extraordinary. How can I be a slave? For the sake of God Lu's position as a true God, I will become your slave. My life and death will be in your hands. How is that possible? Isn't this too laughable? I can rely on you, but if you want to completely control me and turn me into a puppet, that is absolutely impossible. At most, we will have a life and death struggle today. Since I am Wan Senshi's subordinate, I more or less have some means of communication. If I use this method, Lord Wan Senshi will definitely come to save us. At that time, let's see if Lord North Star can withstand it. Longevity God burst into laughter. I, Longevity God, am not a small shrimp that can be trampled by others. I am a saint, you know, a saint. I'd rather die in glory than live in dishonor. Audacious! Hu Gushun shouted. You actually dare to roar in front of Lord North Star, you reckless thing. I'll suppress you right now. You? Longevity God also released killing intent. You sly fox, using the tiger's might to intimidate others. If not for Gauchen behind you, I would have killed you 10 times in an instant, do you believe me? You're courting death. Hu Gu was about to attack. Wait. North Star God stopped the battle and looked at Longevity God from head to toe. Your words are reasonable. If you immediately accepted the seed, I would have suspected that you were pretending to surrender. Not bad, you are right. You are a saint and cannot be humiliated. What I'm doing is a bit too much, but you're a crafty and cunning person. If I give you the position of the true god of Lucian, you'll be able to fuse the 3 gods of Fu, Lu, and Longevity into one, and your strength will increase greatly. In time, even I won't be able to suppress you. At that time, you might even plot against me. So, I have a suggestion. You should eat the seed and be under my control for 3 years. After 3 years, the seed will be completely under your control, and I will retract my will. How about it? You will work for me for 3 years, and I will give you the position of God Lu. You won't suffer a loss, right? We can sign a Sky Demon contract on the tree, and it will be written clearly. No one can violate it. Sky Demon contract? Longevity God thought about it. Then let's see. I am determined to get the position of God Lu, and there is one more thing. Jingqiu can't display the true secret of this position. He can't bestow fortune to others, and he won't be able to bless the world. He can't use fortune to govern the country, but I am different. If I get this position, I will be able to bless the Holy Sama Empire, and the empire's fortune will increase by at least 3 times. Jingqiu, am I right? If not for that, I wouldn't have given up the position of God Lu and let Lord Gauchen give it to you. Jingqiu nodded. No one knew what he was thinking. But Jingqiu, if you give up the position of God Lu, your lifespan and cultivation will immediately drop. Are you really willing? Longevity God asked. I will naturally compensate Jingqiu. I will give him something even better than the position of God Lu, said Gauchen. Besides, after you obtain the position of God Lu, you will have to help Jingqiu establish the Holy Sama Empire. With your help, Jingqiu's empire will rapidly expand, and the benefits he will reap might not be any less than yours. Lord Gauchen is right. Jingqiu understood this principle. If I don't know what to do and what not to do, if I establish such an enormous empire, then Longevity God, if you join us and help me establish it, won't the desolate desert be ours? If the calming immortal agency can accommodate the Lord of 7 Stars, do you think I can't accommodate a blessed Longevity God like you? Good. You have courage and breadth of mind. That is the way to do great things. You Jingqiu aren't simple. It seems that if I don't agree to Lord Gauchen's Sky Demon contract, then I will never be able to obtain the position of God Lu. In fact, it will be impossible for me to leave without paying a price, said Longevity God. That's about right, said Gauchen. Gauchen said, but you have to understand that I don't want to kill you, I just want to subdue you. Because there is no point in killing you. Controlling you and turning you into a puppet will lower your value. Only if you are sincere, gain benefits, and work for me will I be able to bring out your value. You have to understand that, so I won't do anything to you. As Gauchen spoke, a contract appeared on the heavenly demon tree seed. The terms of the contract were very clear. It had been condensed by Gauchen's will. Release your psyche. We will sign this Sky Demon contract together. If anyone violates it, the contract will be invalid. Gauchen had Longevity God look at the contract. Longevity God looked at the terms and found them to be very fair. He would serve Gauchen for 3 years and obtain the position of God Lu. They complemented each other. He released his psyche and signed the contract with Gauchen. Then he concentrated his psyche into the heavenly demon tree seed. Subsequently, he opened his microscopic world and absorbed the heavenly demon tree seed. Seeing Longevity Immortal do this, North Star's complexion eased a bit. After Longevity Immortal completely absorbed the heavenly demon tree seed, it suddenly shook and cast a secret technique. At this time, the heavenly demon tree in Longevity Immortal's microscopic world began to grow crazily. In an instant, it had covered 1/3 of the world. Originally, when the heavenly demon tree grew in Gu Chencha's world, it immediately plundered all vitality, causing the world to wither. Now that the heavenly demon tree grew, not only did it not plunder vitality, but it also released dense spiritual qi and immortal qi, causing the world to inflate like a balloon. Rumor has it that Celestial Tranquility obtained the heavenly demon book and that Gu Chensha cultivated the heavenly demon tree. Then, it evolved into a wish tree and now a world tree. Longevity God deliberately said, "Humph. Celestial Tranquility ruined my plans and must be destroyed. The heavenly Fei tome was refined by me with painstaking efforts. It gathered the essence, qi, and spirit of many ancient Fei race sages, as well as the principles of words written in their blood. Originally, it called itself a world. Although I wasn't able to completely refine it, it gathered a lot of incense and faith. Sooner or later, it would undergo a transformation. It was all destroyed by the Celestial Tranquility Department, causing me to only awaken now. Otherwise, I would have completely awakened more than 10 years ago. How could those little bastards from Celestial Tranquility understand the true essence of the heavenly demon tree?" Gauchen was very angry when this was mentioned. In the past, Celestial Tranquility obtained the heavenly demon book and used it to form a microscopic world to resist the attacks of many experts. This book was different from ordinary microscopic world. It could be said to be a great treasure for the demon race to suppress fate energy. Now that I have absorbed this heavenly fiend tree, according to the heavenly fiend contract, Lord North Star should give me the true God position of heavenly fiend God. At this time, Longevity God naturally wouldn't let go of the North Star contract. What's the hurry? At this time, Jing Qiu smiled cunningly. What kind of existence is Lord Gauchen? Will he confiscate it from you? This God Lu's true God position is also very useful to me. I'll use it for now. After 3 years, when the contract expires, I'll give it to you. What? Longevity God said, that wasn't what you said earlier. As long as I sign the contract, the true God position will belong to me. I didn't say anything about 3 years later. Lord Gauchen, are you going to violate the contract? You have to know that once the contract is violated, it won't take effect. I have the right to interpret the heavenly Fei contract. Gauchen scoffed coldly. Longevity God, you are still too naive. I can't give you the true God position now. Of course, if you cooperate with Jing Qiu and build a kingdom, you can use his position to make up for your weakness. You are a smart person and should know that the situation is stronger than you. Your greed has harmed you. You actually signed such a contract with me. Now, with just a thought, the heavenly demon tree in your microscopic world will steal all your essence and make you beg for death. Chapter 685. Sure enough, the North Star God and Jing Qiu spoke righteously in the beginning, but once Longevity God took the bait, they immediately turned hostile. Longevity God was very clear about this. He and Gu Chensha had already discussed this matter. Your Highness, can you resolve the heavenly demon tree in my minute world? Longevity God asked. Don't worry. This North Star God scheme is just a small trick. It's not generous at all. as an existence at the heavenly venerable level, the ancestor of the monster race, he actually used these crafty schemes and tricks to turn hostile. It's really too despicable. He won't be able to achieve anything great. Gu Chencha's tone was full of disdain. If the North Star God was more generous, he would have immediately given you the position of blessing God. The situation would still be under his control, but he's actually so petty and treacherous. No wonder the ancient monster race has declined until now. Regarding this, Gu Chensha indeed looked down on the North Star God. Wan Senchi's actions were much more generous than the North Star God's. How could such actions win the hearts of the heroes of the world? Gu Chencha's understanding of the heavenly demon tree could be said to have surpassed the North Star God. This wasn't his wisdom, but the wisdom of the ancient heavenly sons of heaven. In addition, there was also the wisdom of Wan Senchi's small world tree. The Buddhist sect's understanding of the Grand Mystery also surpassed the North Star God. From the Grand Mystery, they deduced the heavenly demon tree's flaws. Gu Chensha used these flaws to infiltrate it with the heavenly Tao. Unknowingly, he controlled the entire heavenly demon tree and allowed Longevity God to use it. In other words, after Gu Chencha's operation, the North Star God suffered a double loss. The heavenly demon tree's seed contained the North Star God's divine power. It had been painstakingly refined and was very rare. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to control Longevity God. It should be known that the Longevity Immortal was a sage with 2 true God thrones. Even though the North Star Heavenly Venerate was a heavenly venerate, it wasn't easy to control such a sage. Therefore, the North Star God created the seed of the heavenly demon tree and used its divine power to catalyze it, filling Longevity God's world and controlling it from the inside. This was also one of the supreme mysteries of the heavenly demon tree. If Longevity God didn't have Gu Chencha's help, he would have been controlled by the North Star clan, and he would have been unable to live or die. But now that there was Gu Chensha, it was completely different. Longevity God had secretly absorbed this heavenly demon tree, saving at least thousands of years of bitter cultivation. This seed of the heavenly demon tree contains the accumulation of the North Star continent for many years. In order to control you, it can be said that it has invested a lot of capital. Because of this, once this seed enters your world, it doesn't need to absorb any vitality to automatically grow into a towering tree. This time, you have a lot of good fortune. After eating this wave, you already have the foundation of a minor kiliacosm. Even if you don't obtain the great position of the God of Lu, you can still cultivate a minor kiliacosm in the future. Gu Chensha carefully analyzed the situation and found that he had completely removed the hidden dangers of Longevity God and allowed Longevity God's minute dust world to accumulate enough power. As long as it underwent a slight transformation, it could evolve into a dimensional realm. This is all thanks to King's divine plan. But now that the North Star continent thinks that they have controlled me, we have a great chance to cheat them again. Longevity God also hated the North Star continent, and he was extremely vengeful. He instantly thought of many plans to deal with the North Star continent. That's right. This time, we must cheat the North Star continent. Gu Chensha said coldly, Longevity God, your ambition is still a little small. You just want to deceive the North Star continent and obtain some benefits from it. But I'm different. I want to suppress the North Star continent and refine it into the World Tree. You should know that my common people's wish sphere now has the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise. Only the North Star continent is missing. If the North Star continent returns, it will have all 5 elements. How strong will the dimensional realm sphere become? It will definitely be able to deal with everything that happens next. So what if it's an Empyrean realm North Star continent? I feel that the North Star continent hasn't recovered the supreme power of the ancient era. Now is the best time for us to suppress and kill it. King. Longevity God already knew what Gu Chensha meant. He was simply horrified. He never expected that Gu Chensha would have such great ambitions. He wanted to suppress the North Star continent. The North Star continent was a celestial venerable, the ancestor of all demons. It was the strongest divine beast condensed from the essence of the earth since ancient times. It was almost an undefeatable antique. Can we really suppress the North Star continent? Right now, the calm immortal department has many enemies. If we fight with the North Star continent, won't others take advantage of it? Of course, I won't act rashly, Gu Chensha said, but have you thought about it? Jing Qiu is a cunning person. He definitely won't listen to the North Star continent's orders. In fact, if I'm not wrong, he has an agreement with the Dharma Saint. He definitely wants to secretly ally with the Dharma Saint to suppress the North Star continent. The North Star continent is formed from the true essence of the earth. Whoever can suppress it in the depths of their own world will benefit greatly. The stability of the world will be far greater than before it was suppressed. Looks like King is waiting for an opportunity to let the Dharma Saint take action to suppress the North Star continent? We'll be the fishermen. Longevity God immediately understood Gu Chensha's thoughts. That's natural. Now that you cooperate with me at the most crucial moment, you will definitely be able to deal a fatal blow to the North Star continent. Gu Chensha said, My plans are huge, and there are even stronger things that have yet to appear. As the Zen culture fuses with the civilization of the great Yonko's 20 billion citizens, the Buddhist orthodoxy will also strengthen. The Permitha Golden Mountain will gradually reveal its great power. Not only that, the Grand Preceptor Wenhong will also enter the Great Prestige Dynasty. There are 50 billion people there. Now that we are spreading our civilization, our calm immortal department will also become stronger and stronger. I already know what to do. Longevity God said, King, don't worry. We must suppress the North Star continent. This matter is not far away. Gu Chensha said, I will first help you secretly obtain the true God throne of the Lu God. This Jing Qiu can't beat you. Just as Gu Chensha and Longevity God were discussing how to plan, Jing Qiu and the North Star continent were communicating through their wills. Lord North Star continent, this Longevity God obtained 2 true God thrones. It's not a small matter. Moreover, it's very likely that he has something that Wan Senshi set up. I'm afraid. Jing Qiu was still very careful. You're afraid that he will break the seal? This heavenly fiend tree seed was nurtured by me for thousands of years. It's not an ordinary seed. If it completely melts, it can immediately form a minor thousand world. This Longevity God is a person with great destiny and great luck, but he will never submit to anyone. Even I can't subdue him, so I broke my oath to completely control him and sharpen his character. If he can completely submit to me in the next 3 years, then he still has a chance. Otherwise, he can only be devoured by me. Longevity God is known for being cunning in the profound path of immortals, but how can he fight against Lord North Star continent? Ant Hu quickly said. Jing Qiu, Longevity God has already been subdued by me. He's now your assistant. You and Ant Hu will manage the Holy Sama Empire together. Aside from offering sacrifices to yourself, you will also offer sacrifices to me. I'm the Supreme Being, the ruler of the earth. I'm the true essence of the earth. Offer sacrifices to me, and the soil will be fertile. This was the North Star continent's true goal. My injuries from back then have not fully recovered. I need the essence of the desolation heart to truly recover. Moreover, at that time, I will reach the peak of the heavenly life realm and even surpass Wan Senshi and Celestial Lord. I will definitely help Lord North Star continent. Jing Qiu bowed. Very good. I'm going to do something in the space-time turbulence. Look after Longevity God in case he refuses to submit and causes trouble. As he spoke, the North Star continent disappeared. Jingqiu, are you going to carry out Lord North Star Continent's plan now? Seeing the North Star Continent leave, Aunt Hu said, immediately establish Lord North Star Continent's faith and then help him obtain the Desolation Heart. At that time, we will all benefit greatly. Is that so? A strange smile suddenly appeared on Jingqiu's face. The Holy Sama Empire is mine. I am the only true god in the empire. Apart from me, there are no other gods. Not even the North Star Continent. What? Hu Guxin was shocked, as though she didn't dare to believe her ears. You actually dared to betray Lord North Star. Who gave you the guts? Don't forget that Lord North Star has also placed a restriction on your body. Humph. Jingqiu said, the North Star Continent's mind isn't clear. I already knew that there would be this calamity. Therefore, I worked together with Lord Dharma Saint to remove the North Star Continent's restrictions. Lord Dharma Saint used Wu Dongkong's heaven sacrificial decree and used the secrets within to remove the North Star Continent's restrictions. How can the North Star Continent compare to the heaven sacrificial decree? Lord Dharma Saint Wu Dongkong, please come out. This time we are going to do something big. We will capture the North Star Continent's primogenitor and use the heaven sacrificial decree to refine it. Then, we can control all the demons in the world and gather immense power. Rumble. The space opened. Dharma Saint and Wu Dongkong appeared together. The light of the sun and moon appeared on Wu Dongkong's body. They intertwined and seemed to give birth to a heaven and earth. In this heaven and earth, a talisman appeared. It was the heaven sacrificial decree. It was obvious that she could use the power of the talisman to protect herself against enemies. Not bad, Jingqiu. You fooled the North Star Continent perfectly. The moment Wu Dongkong came out, he nodded. The North Star Continent is really too old. His injuries haven't even healed and he wants to stir up trouble. He's just courting death. And Hu, you're a smart person. Follow me and be a maid. I'll spare your life and you'll obtain great benefits. How about that? Unknowingly, the talisman had reached 2 million words. Everyone knows that after the Emperor of the Galaxy ended, I basically didn't write for a year. A large part of it was because the website fell into the hands of others. Those people didn't understand online literature and randomly interfered. Also, I wrote for more than 10 years and it was too tiring. From Buddhism to Tao, Old Demon of Black Mountain, The Romance of Dragon and Snake, Sun God, Eternal Life, Saint King, Emperor of the Galaxy. A total of 7 books with more than 20 million words. 10 years of wind and rain. How many decades can a person's life have? So, at that time, I prepared to change my life. But later on, I felt that I wasn't willing to give up just like that. So, my team and I took back the website and I wrote a new dragon talisman. Starting from the Emperor of the Galaxy, the main characters in my books have changed. Everyone must have noticed it. In the previous books, the main character of Buddhism is Dao Zhouqing, the main character of Old Demon of Black Mountain, Wang Zhong, the main character of The Romance of Dragon and Snake, Sun God Hong Yi, Eternal Life Fong Han, and Saint King Yang Qi. These people all showed off their abilities and flew in all directions. They were like peerless swords that cut through the waterfall of life and death. But the main character of Emperor of the Galaxy, Jiangli, was more peaceful. The entire book's plot also became more ordinary. There weren't any exciting words like before. In this Dragon Talisman book, the protagonist, Gu Chernxia, was no longer as clean and efficient as the previous protagonists who killed anyone in their way. I was surprised by the huge changes in these 2 books. The biggest reason was that I was older and my personality was much more peaceful. So, whether it was the main character's personality or the book's plot, they all became more ordinary. My life was ordinary and my writing was ordinary. Just as I thought that my writing and life would be ordinary, the previous person in charge of the Divine Arms Battalion, the Emperor of the Galaxy's Billion Guildmaster, came to find me. He told me, "Divine Armament, it's been a long time since you showed up in front of the old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion. Everyone is still reading your book and waiting for you to speak. The old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion haven't dispersed yet, and the 72 guilds are still here. The book can't be written, but the brothers can't be separated." When I heard this, my heart was moved, and I almost burst into tears. The hot-blooded feeling I had when I was Sun God and fought for 8 consecutive monthly votes, as well as the fighting spirit of the Emperor of the Galaxy's Billion Guildmaster, seemed to have returned to my body. No matter what, the brothers can't be separated. So, we started to act crazily. We started to contact the old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion. With the help of Xiaowu, Scumbag, and other old hardcore fans, we built the Divine Armament Dojo. It was a place for the brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion to gather. Everyone could read and practice martial art. We could pursue our own lives, our own Tao, and our own passion. Our brothers from all over the world finally had a home to return to. All the readers who have read my book, Dreaming of Divine Armaments, are my brothers. As for the news about the Divine Armament Dojo, I will post it on my official WeChat account and Weibo. Also, Scumbag, Xiaowu, and other old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion will read and practice martial arts with us. They will direct and act in their own performances and take videos and pictures of the stories in and out of the book. Readers of the Divine Arms Battalion, please contact Scumbag and Xiaowu and join our big family. For this reunion event, a few tycoons of the Divine Arms Battalion and the author's fan platform of the Orange Melon app have sponsored an iPhone 7, 3 gold coins, 10 signed books, and 30 sets of the Divine Arms Battalion's Tang suit. All of them will be given to the brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion who have picked on the wrong people. This is our reward receiving group, the 127066225. There are Scumbag, Xiaowu, and the tycoons who sponsored this event. If you join the group, not only will you receive an iPhone 7 and gold coins, but you will also receive an invitation from the Divine Armament Dojo. You can come here and eat, drink, and have fun with us. You can also film the characters in the book. You can download the Orange Melon app to see the videos of my dojo. Because of the fate caused by the book, we are connected in reality. From now on, we will bid farewell to the plain and burn with passion, both in and out of the book. Me. Dreaming of Divine Armaments. It has returned. The Divine Arms Battalion has returned. Chapter 686. Jing Qiu, you traitor. Have you forgotten that Lord Northstar has supported and nurtured you so much? To think that you would immediately betray us. Hu Guxin was so angry that her eyes turned white. The North Star wants to steal my foundation. This is unforgivable. The Holy Sama Empire is the path that I have painstakingly built. I want to rely on this empire to transcend and advance. Anyone who tries to encroach on my empire is seeking death. Jing Qiu's voice became sharp. To Jing Qiu, the Holy Sama Empire that he had single-handedly created was much more important than his wife and son. This empire's civilization carried his ideals, his spirit, and his principles. It was like a work of art that an artist had painstakingly created. Now that the North Star wanted to destroy it, how could he allow that? The North Star is too stupid. The Dharma Saint sighed and said, he encroaches on the faith of the Holy Sama Empire, which means that he wants Jing Qiu's life. In fact, he might even go overboard. In this way, it would be strange if Jing Qiu didn't fight him to the death. Everyone has a bottom line, and the Holy Sama Empire is Jing Qiu's bottom line. Look, in order to rope in Jing Qiu, I won't encroach on this empire. That way we can coexist peacefully and form an alliance. If we don't know this and just take it by force, it won't last long. However, we can't blame the North Star. The primordial sky demon path is pure plunder. The North Star doesn't know how to be flexible, so it will naturally be deserted. However, I'm different. My principles are the laws of all ages. Where the laws are, the rules are. Anything that is recorded in the laws cannot cross the line. I have already made 3 rules with Jing Qiu, which are recorded in the laws of all ages. This is my Tao. If I destroy my own Tao, I will be consigned to eternal damnation. I am the embodiment of the law, so when Jing Qiu cooperates with me, as long as the laws are set, he won't have to worry about me going back on my word. However, with the North Star, the Tao of the demon clan is temperamental and will turn hostile. Who would be at ease with such a cooperation? Lord Dharma Saint created the code of laws, rules, and the order of heaven and earth. This is the supreme example of the divine path. How can the North Star Empire, which goes back on its words, compare to him? Jing Qiu's expression returned to calmness, as if it was only natural. All right, and who? I'll ask you one more time. Either submit to me or die. Which one do you want? Wu Dengkong seemed to have lost his patience. I'm willing to join you. Hu Guxin knew that she was in a disadvantageous position. However, I have the North Star God's restriction on me. If the North Star God finds out about this with just a thought, I will die without a burial place. Don't worry, the North Star God won't know about this. This place has been enveloped by the power of the heavenly sacrificial decree. Even if the North Star God reaches the celestial longevity realm, the same level as Wan Senshi, it won't have such a powerful divine ability. Moreover, I've already sent the old antiques of the heavenly devil race to surround the North Star God. He won't be able to care about anything else, so we can set up a plan here. As the Dharma Saint spoke, he looked at Longevity God. Longevity God, your luck is indeed extraordinary. You actually obtained 2 true God positions. Although you were restricted by the North Star God, you met me after that. I isolated the North Star God's will, allowing you to seize the opportunity to refine the heavenly devil tree in your body, obtaining great nourishment instead. What does Lord Dharma Saint want me to do? Longevity God said calmly, Lord Dharma Saint pays attention to the law, and the rules he sets won't be changed. I believe in this. Compared to the treacherous old monsters like the North Star God, it's much better. I'm willing to serve Lord Dharma Saint. Very good, you really know how to adapt to the circumstances. I won't control you. Controlling you is already a bad thing. Even the monarchs of the human world don't use restrictions to control their subordinate. They use the principle of serving the country, the people, and the court to brainwash and control them. The North Star God's methods aren't even as good as the monarchs of the human world. How can they compare to me? The Dharma Saint said disdainfully, Longevity God, you can indeed wield 3 true God positions, and after that, you can fully unleash their power, so I let you wield them. Jing Qiu, give him the true God position. Yes, Lord Dharma Saint. This time, Jing Qiu didn't hesitate. He took out the true God position and gave it to the Dharma Saint. The Warlock Saint pointed with his finger, and a force wrapped around it and sent it directly into the depths of the Longevity God's dust world. Then, he activated some unknown technique and immediately connected the true God positions of the Longevity God and the Longevity God. Under the illumination of the light, they began to suppress the heavenly demon tree. Wu Dengkong, activate the heaven sacrificial decree and lend me a hand. At this moment, the Warlock Saint said, Now, the God of longevity's accumulation in the tiny world has been completely fulfilled. This is also thanks to the accumulation of the 3 true gods' grand heavenly demon tree. I will let the God of longevity refine it now and create a minor kiliacosm. This is the best bait to lure Gochen. This plan is really great. Wu Dengkong was also very excited. Lord Warlock Saint wants to capture the North Star Nation and bring it into his own medium-class world. Once that happens, the power of the medium-class world will be able to suppress the ancient times. Even my cultivation level will increase. That's right. The Warlock Saint said, the longevity god can be used as bait to lure the North Star Country. What the North Star Country needs now is to recover from its injuries. After we assist the longevity god in creating the small kiliacosm and place all kinds of treasures in it, the North Star Country will definitely come to seize it. What treasure to use to lure the North Star god? Wu Dongkong's body shot out a light. This light is the power of the Heaven Sacrifice Decree, and it fused with the Dharma Saint's power and poured into longevity god's body. Very good. At this time, Gu Chernsha understood. I didn't expect Wu Dangkong to be able to use the power of the Heaven Sacrifice Decree. That means he is truly under the command of the heavens. Back then, I was far from being able to develop this talisman's ability to suppress the ages. Since that's the case, I'll retract this power and combine them. Gu Chensha's heavenly Tao technique was fully activated and actually fused with the longevity god. He was longevity blessing god, and longevity blessing god was him. With his support, the longevity god's cultivation rose steadily, and it swallowed all of the Warlock Sage's input. Good. When the Warlock Sage saw that the longevity god had swallowed all his power, a look of surprise appeared in his eyes. Longevity god, I have underestimated you. You have hidden yourself very well and have the demeanor of the mighty spiritual god. You are the little mighty spiritual god. It seems that even without my help, you can break free from the North Star god's restraint in time. The world changes, and no one will retreat if they can seize every second. Longevity god said, I can quickly break free from the North Star god's restraint because of Dharma Saint's grace. I will not betray him. Remember what you said today. Dharma Saint said with deep meaning, next, I will help you advance to a lesser kiliacosm. Then, I will join forces with Wu Dangkong to use the treasures left behind from ancient times and the power of the Heaven Sacrifice Decree to simulate the aura of the Sun Moon Lord. This aura will definitely attract the North Star God to seize it. At that time, your lesser kiliacosm will become a trap, trapping the North Star God inside. I will then help you and use your lesser kiliacosm to seal the North Star God. Once it succeeds, your strength will increase by several times and reach the heavenly venerable realm. I can also obtain the North Star God true body and subdue the primordial myriad demon ancestor to achieve my ideal realm. Simulate the aura of the Sun Moon Lord. Hu Guxian let out a painful groan. She knew that this was a trap laid out by Dharma Saint and Wu Dangkong. If it was the aura of the Sun Moon Lord, the North Star Empire would definitely not let it go and would definitely take the bait. If it was just the Dharma Saint, even with the help of the Heaven Devil race, they might not be able to suppress the North Star Empire. However, with the addition of the Heaven Offering Decree, things were different. Hu Gu God knew how terrifying the power of the Heaven Sacrificial Decree was. This was the true power of the Heavenly Tao. It was not something that ordinary powers could compare to. Basically, with her intelligence, the North Star Empire was doomed. It was obvious that the Warlock Saint had taken everything into consideration for his scheme. The power kept pouring into Longevity God's body. All the power in Longevity God's Minute Dust world was stimulated, exploding and shaking. The Minute Dust world was about to transform into a minor thousand world. Gu Chernsha, who was inside, kept absorbing power and began to use this power to temper his body. He himself had reached a critical point. At this moment, when the power of Dharma Saint and Wu Dangkong poured into Longevity God's body, it was equivalent to pouring into his body. Instantly, his Son of Heaven God sealing technique changed. The power of the Heaven Sacrificial Decree merged with the Son of Heaven God sealing technique, causing his comprehension of the technique to increase by another level. Gotcha. His cultivation evolved once more. He reached the Tao Realm 29 transformation, comprehend primal chaos, and he was just a step away from God Realm. Congratulations on breaking through, King. As expected, King's foresight is far above mine. You knew that Dharma Saint wanted to target the North Star Empire, so you hid there. Not only did my cultivation increase, but I also used the power of Dharma Saint and the Heaven Sacrificial Decree to break through. In time, King will reach God Realm. Once King becomes God Realm, it won't be a problem for you to sweep the world. At this moment, Longevity God knew how amazing Gu Chensha was. He could sense that Gu Chencha's huge power was waiting to be unleashed. Once he reached God Realm, he would be 100 times stronger than he was now. To Gu Chensha, God Realm was a huge barrier that was tough to cross. But once he did, he wouldn't be someone that normal God Realm experts could compare to. It is natural for Dharma Saint to plot against the North Star Empire. Apart from Dharma Saint, there is also Wan Senshi. But Dharma Saint contacted Wu Dangkong and borrowed the power of the Heaven Sacrificial Decree. That way, Wan Senshi won't be able to do anything to him, so he might not attack anymore. Gu Chensha said, "Of course, I don't know some of Wan Senshi's secrets. He definitely won't be willing to let Dharma Saint take over the North Star Empire again. That way we will have more opportunities, and you will definitely be nurtured by Wan Senshi. Now that I have possessed your body, our fates will be superimposed, and we will be able to overturn heaven and earth, reverse yin and yang. We can hide from most of the big shots, and the benefits are unimaginable. But it won't be that easy for me to break through to God Realm." The Dragon Talisman had unknowingly reached 2 million words. Everyone knows that after the Emperor of the Cosmos ended, I basically didn't write for a year. Most of that was because the website fell into the hands of others. Those people didn't understand online literature and interfered, which made me disheartened. Also, after writing for more than 10 years, I was too tired. From Buddhism to Tao, Black Mountain's Old Demon, The Romance of Dragon and Snake, Sun God, Eternal Life, Sage King, Emperor of the Cosmos, a total of 7 books, more than 20 million words. These 10 years of wind and rain, how many 10 years could a person have in life? So I prepared to change my life at that time. But later, I felt that I was really not willing to give up just like that, so my team and I took back the website, and then I wrote a new Dragon Talisman. Starting from the Emperor of the Cosmos, the main characters of my books have changed, and everyone must have noticed it. In the previous books, be it the main character of Buddhism is Tao, Zhou Qing, the main character of Black Mountains Wang Zhong, the main character of Dragon and Snakes Wang Chao, the Sun God's Hong Yi, the Eternal Life's Fang Han, or the Sage King's Yang Qi. These people all showed off their abilities, flying unhindered like peerless swords, cutting through the waterfall of life and death, dripping with joy. But the main character of the Emperor of the Cosmos, Jiang Li, was more peaceful, and the plot of the entire book also became more ordinary, without the previous exciting words. In this Dragon Talisman book, the protagonist, Gu Chensha, was no longer as clean and efficient as the previous protagonists who killed anyone in their way. The changes in these 2 books surprised me. The biggest reason was because I was older, and my personality was much more peaceful, so whether it was the main character's personality or the plot of the book, they all became more ordinary. My life was ordinary, and my writing was ordinary. Just as I thought that my writing and life would be ordinary, the previous person in charge of the Divine Arms Battalion, the Emperor of the Cosmos Billion Guildmaster, came to find me. He told me, "Divine Armament, it's been a long time since you showed up in front of the old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion. Everyone is still reading your book, waiting for you to speak. The old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion haven't dispersed, and the 72 guilds are still here. The book can't be written, but the brothers can't be separated." When I heard this, my heart was moved, and I almost burst into tears. The hot-blooded feeling I had when I was Sun God's 8 consecutive monthly votes, and the fighting spirit of the Emperor of the Cosmos Billion Guildmaster, seemed to have returned to my body. No matter what, the brothers can't be separated. Hence, we started to act crazily. We started contacting our old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion. With the help of the despicable Go, Xiaowu, and other old hardcore fans, we established the Divine Arms Dojo. It was a place for the brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion to gather. Everyone could read books and practice martial art. We could pursue our own lives, our own path, and our own hot-bloodedness. Our brothers from all over the world finally had a home to return to. All the readers who have read my book, Dreaming of Divine Armaments, are brothers. I will release the news about the Divine Armament Dojo on my official WeChat account and Weibo. Also, Little Five and the other old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion, Little Five, will read and practice martial arts together with us. We will direct and act in our own performances and take videos and pictures of the stories in and out of the book. Readers of the Divine Strategy Battalion, please contact Xiaowu and Scummy Character and join our big family. For this reunion event, a few rich people of the Divine Arms Battalion and the author's fan platform of the Orange Melon app have sponsored an iPhone 7, 3 gold coins, 10 signed books, and 30 sets of the Divine Arms Battalion's Tang Dynasty uniform. All of them will be given to the brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion who picked on the wrong people. This is our reward receiving group, the 127066225. There are Little Five and Little Five, as well as the rich people who sponsored this event. If you join the group, not only will you receive an iPhone 7 and gold coins, but you will also receive an invitation from the Divine Armament Dojo. You can come here and eat, drink, and have fun with us and film the characters in the book. If you download the Orange Melon app, you can also see the videos of my dojo. Because of the fate caused by the book, we are connected in reality. From now on, we bid farewell to the plain and burn with passion and hot blood, both in and out of the book. Me. Dreaming of Divine Armaments. It's back. The Divine Arms Battalion is back too. Chapter 687. In order to nurture longevity, God, Dharma Saint had poured his vitality and the power of Wu Dongkong's sacrificial talisman into Longevity God's body, but he did not expect that Gu Chunsha and Longevity God had already become one, and most of his power was absorbed by Longevity God. Now that Longevity God had obtained 3 true God thrones, coupled with the accumulation of the heavenly demon tree, and the help of Dharma Saint and Wu Dangkong, his cultivation speed immediately increased, surpassing the cultivation of others by thousands of years. Between the shock and the explosion, suddenly, a small kiliacosm was born and instantly filled the air. Finally, Longevity God cultivated his own small kiliacosm. Once a minor kiliacosm was formed, its might would be unparalleled and invincible. Longevity God felt like his realm was about to break through and reach the Tao Realm 34 transformation controlling fate. It was even still rising, and he might break through to the 35th transformation chaotic dust realm. I didn't expect that one day I would be able to cultivate a minor 1000 world. Even if Longevity Immortal knew that he could cultivate to this realm, he was still a little excited. In the profound gate of the immortal Tao, he had fought with Taoist Luan his entire life. He wanted to see who could refine a minor 1000 world and be qualified to become one of the primordial 72 profound gate. Now that his wish had finally been fulfilled, he couldn't help but feel as if his wish had come true. Moreover, his minor kiliacosm was protected by 3 true God thrones. It was filled with the chi of fortune, and longevity. It was much stronger than an ordinary minor kiliacosm. Not bad, I've finally cultivated a small kiliacosm. The Dharma Saint exclaimed in admiration, Your minor chiliocosm is so sturdy that even among the 72 ancient mysterious gates, very few people can match it. Many thanks to Lord Dharma Saint. Longevity God immediately said. Next, let's take out the treasures we've prepared. The Dharma Saint said to Wu Dangkong, after we take out the treasures, we can use Wu Dongkong's Son of Heaven investiture art and sun and moon shine together to fuse these treasures. Then, we can take human form and release the aura of the Lord of the Sun and Moon. We won't have to worry about Gauchen not taking the bait. While speaking, Wu Dangkong waved his hand, and suddenly, many sparkling treasures flew into the depths of Longevity God's minor thousand world. Among the treasures were enormous ores that contained the quintessence of the sun and moon. There were also spatial fluctuations deep within them. This is a sun-moon gem. Longevity God was shocked. He knew that the sun and moon gemstones were the crystallization from the deepest depth. They were minerals condensed from the essence of the sun and moon. Only after billions of years of condensation could they be born. This kind of age had already far exceeded the lifespan of gods and saints. Even true gods could not compare. Of course, these sun and moon gems were very rare. The older the sun and moon gem, the more essence of the sun and moon it contained. Even if each sun and moon gem was only the size of a soybean, it could destroy inner demons, expel evil, control one's spirit, and communicate with the sun and moon, giving cultivators a divine radiance. In the profound immortal Tao, the sun-moon gem was extremely precious. But now, what the Dharma Saint and Wu Dangkong took out was simply a small mountain. In addition, a lot of materials were also taken out. The fruit of great radiance is an innate spirit object. The fruits of the Hongmeng tree. Longevity God became more and more amazed. There is also yin-yang limitless grass, 9 searing profound spirit sand, time spirit, time rainbow. These are all supreme treasures related to the sun and moon. The Dharma Saint did not think much of it. Some things are rare, but compared to the sun and moon lord, they are still far from it. Many materials gathered in the minor thousand world. Then, Wu Dangkong used the Son of Heaven sealing God technique. Intense light of the sun and moon appeared, refining these materials and injecting their spirituality. Gradually, all the materials melted and formed a human figure. His body released the light of the sun and moon, and the aura of the sun and moon lord was faintly discernible. Without the heavenly sacrifice talisman, it would be impossible to imitate the aura of the sun and moon lord, said the Dharma Saint. Of course, if this heavenly sacrifice talisman can fully activate its power, it can suppress a powerful existence like Wan Senshi. Unfortunately, I can only activate 1,000th of its power. But even so, celestial venerables cannot do anything to me, said Wu Dangkong. Next, we will set up a trap and let the North Star country descend again? Yes, the North Star country is also carrying out many plans, but I have already seen it clearly, said the Dharma Saint. The Sun and Moon Lord is fatally attractive to the North Star country. We are not worried that he will not take the bait. Of course, we still have to refine the Longevity God. The stronger his cultivation, the better our plan will be. At the very least, when the North Star descends, this small chiliocosm will be able to completely seal him. Unfortunately, my cultivation is still too low, or else I can use the heavenly sacrifice talisman to suppress the North Star country. With Wu Dongkong's current cultivation, he could not clearly see what realm she had reached. However, Gu Chensha reckoned that she had not reached the 30th transformation. It was possible that she was already at the 29th transformation and had comprehended the chaos realm, just like him. This was because it was very difficult for those who cultivated the Son of Heaven's God investiture art to reach the God level. But if they succeeded, the rewards would be huge. Of course, even if Wu Dangkong reached the peak of the 36th transformation, Gu Chensha did not care. In his opinion, Wu Dangkong was a failure who had been tricked by him time and time again. If it was not for the Dharma Saint's help, he would have been in an extremely miserable state. Only the Dharma Saint was a formidable opponent. He had ascended to a minor thousand world, and even Wan Senshi and the Immortal Master had been kept in the dark. When faced with the Dharma Saint's ascension to a minor thousand world, even Gu Chensha could not help but give a thumbs up and express his admiration. This was because the Dharma Saint had kept even him in the dark. This art of crossing the sea by deception had reached an inconceivable level. Your Highness, they really imitated the aura of the Sun Moon Lord and deceived the North Star Nation. What benefits can I obtain from this? I feel that, if the North Star Nation descends, my minor thousand world may not be able to resist it, said Longevity God. That's natural. The Dharma Saint does not want to cultivate you. He wants to plunder your destiny and give it to Fa Wuxian. She definitely believes in legalism and will not believe in you. To a certain extent, he is also very afraid of you. After all, if you do not die under the attack of the North Star Nation, you will definitely have the hope of becoming an Empyrean. Don't look at the high-sounding words of the Dharma Saint. In fact, he will not let you truly grow. If I didn't guess wrong, the Dharma Saint's idea is to graft your destiny and turn it into a doppelganger of Fa Wuxian. In this way, you will not have any chance to turn things around, said Gu Chensha. Since your Highness said so, then there must be a way. Longevity God was very relieved. You don't have to worry. My true body has already fused with you and is circulating mysteriously. Even the North Star Nation cannot break it. When the time comes, just try to absorb the source of the North Star Nation's Empyrean realm. Gu Chensha was very calm. The North Star Nation's main body is very rare. Even if we tear off 1/3 of its source, we can return to the minor thousand world and create a brand new North Star Nation. Of course, it is best to completely suppress the North Star Nation. Firstly, there will be no future trouble. Secondly, we will truly obtain a Empyrean demon progenitor. I feel that the destiny of the Celestial Tranquility Department has increased by another 30%. It has given me a lot of power. Longevity God circulated once more. His grasp of the Tao of Destiny was even more exquisite. Is that because of your Highness' advancement, the common people's marshals have also improved and reached the 29 changes of Chaos Realm? Each common people's marshal has gone through many changes, causing their ability to suppress the world to greatly increase. After the Imperial Court's control increased, some demons and monsters wouldn't dare to act recklessly. Not bad, the common people's marshal has also advanced and reached the 29 changes of Tao realm to comprehend chaos. Actually, the most important thing about this realm is to absorb the power of chaos from the void and start to form all sorts of matter. Although it is impossible to create things out of nothing and turn them into many treasures, it is very beneficial for creating mountains and rivers, increasing spiritual energy, nurturing spiritual herbs, and nurturing talents. This is not all. Each time the common people's marshal increases by a realm, their intelligence and calculation abilities will also increase. They will be able to help the governors do more things. There is also another point, which is the power of deterrence. Now, everyone in the world knows that the common people's marshal is closely related to me and basically represents my realm. Even if they have the ability to suppress the common people's marshal, if they are afraid that I will break through to God realm, then his strength will increase by more than 10 times. So, at this juncture, they won't dare to act recklessly. Gu Chensha saw it clearly. After reaching the 29 changes and comprehending chaos, the most important thing was the power of deterrence. That was the power of being able to break through to God realm at any moment. Drawing a bow without firing it was the most terrifying thing. For example, if Wan Senshi wanted to attack the calming celestial department, then he would have to calculate the changes of Gu Chunxia suddenly breaking through to God realm. If that was the case, then he wouldn't have much confidence. Many of the big shots already knew that Gu Chunxia had cultivated the heavenly Tao laws. With the quality of his magic power, once he reached the God level, just how terrifying would that be? Not just that, but Gu Chunxia had also grasped control of his dimensional realm. With the God-level boundary and the power of the heavenly Tao laws, he could stimulate his dimensional realm and display a strength several times greater. At that time, it wouldn't be a problem for him to suppress celestial venerables. With Wan Senshi's realm, he might be at a disadvantage in the battle with the calming celestial department. Dharma Saint and Wu Dankong were still condensing. Dharma Saint seemed to be throwing all kinds of rare magic treasures and materials into Longevity God's medium-sized world. The number of materials and magic treasures made Longevity God's heart jump. He couldn't help but say, "Lord Dharma Saint, I'm afraid that I can't bear your nurturing." "It's fine, I want to create you." Dharma Saint's eyes flashed. "Moreover, we are dealing with North Star this time, and we can't let him have a chance to turn things around. The stronger you are, the better." I used the heavenly devil race to force North Star to stop him from summoning his incarnation. Therefore, according to my calculations, he must use all his strength to seize the Sun-Moon Lord that we created. At that time, it will be his death, and also your greatest difficulty and tribulation. Therefore, no matter how much preparation you make, it won't be too much. Dragon Talisman unknowingly reached 2 million words. Everyone knows that since the end of the Emperor of the Cosmos, I basically didn't write any books for a year. A large part of it was because the website fell into the hands of others. Those people didn't understand online literature, so they interfered indiscriminately, which made me disheartened. Moreover, after writing for more than 10 years, I was really tired. From Buddha is Tao, Old Demon Black Mountain, The Romance of Dragon and Snake, Young God, Eternal Life, Holy King, Emperor of the Cosmos, a total of 7 books, more than 20 million words. These 10 years of wind and rain, how many 10 years can a person's life have? Therefore, at that time, I prepared to change my life. But later, I felt that I was really unwilling to give up just like that, so my team and I took back the website, and then I wrote Dragon Talisman again. From the beginning of the Emperor of the Cosmos, the main characters of my books have changed a style, which everyone must have noticed. In the previous books, whether it was the main character of Buddha is Tao, Zhou Qing, the main character of Old Demon Black Mountain, Wang Zhong, the main character of The Romance of Dragon and Snake, Yang God Hong Yi, Eternal Life Fong Han, Holy King Yang Qi. These people all showed off their abilities, flying freely like peerless swords, cutting through the waterfall of life and death. However, the main character of the Emperor of the Cosmos, Jiang Li, was more peaceful, and the plot of the book also became more ordinary. There weren't any exciting words like before. In this Dragon Talisman, the main character Gu Chunxia didn't have the clear-cut killing style of the previous main characters. The changes in these 2 books surprised me. The biggest reason was that I was getting older, and my character had become more peaceful. Therefore, whether it was the main character's character or the plot of the book, they all became more ordinary. My life was ordinary, and my writing was ordinary. Just when I thought that my writing and life were going to be ordinary, the previous person in charge of the Divine Arms Battalion, the Emperor of the Cosmos Billion Guildmaster, came to find me. He told me, "Shinji, you haven't shown your face in front of the old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion for a long time. Everyone is still reading your book, waiting for you to speak. The old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion haven't dispersed, and the 72 guilds are still here. The book can be stopped, but the brothers can't be separated." When I heard that, I felt my heart skip a beat. I almost felt tears welling up in my eyes. The hot-blooded feeling I had when I fought for 8 consecutive monthly votes as Yang God, and the fighting spirit of the Emperor of the Cosmos Billion Guild Master seemed to have returned to my body. No matter what, the brothers can't be separated. Therefore, we started to act crazily. We started to contact the old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion. With the help of despicable character, Xiaowu, and the other old hardcore fans, we built the Divine Arms Dojo. It was a place for the brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion to gather. Everyone could read and practice martial arts, and pursue the life of the Divine Arms Battalion. Our brothers from all over the world finally had a home to return to. All the readers who have read my book, Dreaming of Divine Armaments, are my brothers. As for the news about the Divine Arms Dojo, I will post it on my official WeChat account and Weibo. Also, despicable character, Xiaowu, and the other old brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion will read and practice martial arts with us. They will direct and act on their own and take videos and pictures of the stories in and out of the book. Readers of the Divine Arms Battalion, please contact Despicable Character and Xiaowu and join our big family. For this reunion event, a few tycoons of the Divine Arms Battalion and the author's fan platform of the Orange Melon app have sponsored an iPhone 7, 3 gold coins, 10 signed books, and 30 sets of Divine Arms Battalion's Tang suit. All of them will be given to the brothers of the Divine Arms Battalion who have picked on the wrong people. This is our reward receiving group, 127066225. There are Despicable Character and Xiaowu, as well as the tycoons who sponsored this event. If you join the group, not only will you receive an iPhone 7 and gold coins, but you will also receive an invitation from the Divine Arms Dojo. You can come here and eat, drink, and have fun with us. You can also film the characters in the book. You can download the Orange Melon app to see the videos of my dojo. Because of the fate caused by the book, we are connected in reality. From now on, we bid farewell to the plain and burn with passion and hot blood, both in and out of the book. Me. Dreaming of Divine Armaments. We are back. The Divine Arms Battalion is back. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.